Hello, and welcome to episode one. Hang on one second. I panicked. I was looking at the wrong. I was looking at a timer on my. It wasn't the right time. Is what I'm
I
looking
didn't.
at.
I didn't help by laughing, but in my defense, what you did to me to start that show, just leave it all in. Have the cold open, have the fucked up intro, and then we'll do the real intro. Go. 3, 2, 1. 10, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, and welcome to episode 178 of Flix into 6, a tight 60-minute podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Anthony Costanzo. With me, for always, the man, the myth, the chicken pig, Alessandro Boelsi. Say hello, Al.
If you aim at nothing, you hit nothing.
That's true. That's true. I stand by that. On this week's episode, we got trailers, a couple of them. We got a Denis Villeneuve, and we've got, what we're consuming and other ramblings, all before diving into our flick of the week, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Did I say that right?
Sure. I hope so.
But first, Al, what's on tap?
I hate that we just discussed 30 seconds before all of that when we have other things to talk about, it's going to be other fuckery, and then you just said, and other things.
Ramblings.
We literally other ramblings. We literally
another.
Just discussed this semi-formally.
Another fuckery from the Good Time Boys.
The Good Time Boys.
I'm one of your Good Time Boys.
I'm your good time boy.
Oh, boy. We're in rare form today. I have a tattoo now. See that? Little heart. Looks like a little prison tat. Oh, man.
So the funny
I was
thing
late
is,
to recording this episode because
like
we were
a
filling
heart.
out Christmas cards. But it's
I
also, I'm also holding a beer with that hand. So it's like, it's brewed with heart.
Yeah, exactly. it's okay.
But not this beer.
We're all in rare form. Things are stuff, and whatever.
My eyes are hot.
Like sexy or
No, temperature wise, they're feeling warm. Is that that sensation that I can't say that I've ever put my finger on before, but that's where I'm at right now.
Okay. Are you having a stroke?
I don't know.
My eyes
Plausible.
are hot. What am I supposed to do with that?
I don't know. I was hoping that you could help me out and guide me, but I guess not.
I mean, I did have a bit of a headache.
Only me?
I did have a bit of a headache pounding behind my right eye earlier, so
I'm not a fan of those.
no.
No, I legitimately warm. Like I feel warmth in both eyes.
Yeah, this doesn't help that
Is this it for me?
Well, I don't know, because as I mentioned last week, I've been listening to the Southern Reach trilogy, and that sounds like the type of thing that they would describe after coming into contact with Area X. Right?
Sure.
Sure. And they go into that in way even greater detail, obviously, in the book than in the movie. But they did a pretty good job with the movie, so you have that bit of, baseline knowledge.
God, that movie was creepy. I love it, though. I love it.
Me too. I would really
I have to watch it again.
Yeah, I'd really like to watch it again soonish. I have a lot of things I'd like to rewatch again soonish, but the problem is there's so many other new things to watch, too.
Sure. Yeah, that feels like a strong 4K rewatch.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Some popcorn. My sister bought a 3-pound bag of popcorn over the other day.
It's a lot of popcorn.
Then I sent her back home with it.
The whole thing?
It was a joke. We used to string popcorn for a Christmas tree. Did you ever do that?
Once.
Okay, we used to do that every year. And while I have fond memories of doing it, it's still like the immediate thought that comes to mind is torture. Specifically because your fingers are covered in salt and
you want to lick them,
grease, and you prick them with the needle every once in a while, and it hurts. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah, you're literally putting salt in the wound. I got it.
Yeah, direct injection.
Mm-hmm.
That's how cars work, right?
I mean, some of them.
You put salt in it, and it goes.
Oh, I thought you were talking about direct injection, but yeah.
I was. Oh man. Anyway, we don't string popcorn anymore. But as a joke, she was gonna do it with friends, and they never got to it. Surprise. And she brought the popcorn over, and I think she was legitimately trying to pawn it off on me, but I just sent her back with it.
In kindergarten, we in like art/craft class, we made that sort of garland for the Christmas tree with packing peanuts.
Oh, I have a packing peanut story. Well, not packing peanuts, but mostly it's really styrofoam. So the other day, my parents were over, and we had this ottoman. It's like fabric stuffed with something. It feels like a beanbag. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it ripped on the side, and it started like little things started coming out of it, like these little ballies, these little styrofoam ballies. So not the same consistency as like an old school beanbag, but they're very, very soft little balls. But I guess a lot of them in there, and it works. It was kind of deflated because some had fallen out. So my mom was going to help us out, and she opened it up, and she was going to stuff a pillow in it, and then resew it so it became really fluffy, firm on the bottom, held things together, nice, right? Great plan. Opened it up, and immediately became just completely statically charged, and she looked like a snowman. Like it just it all just came out and attached itself to her.
It just enveloped her.
I thought was funny. And then so she's working her way through it, and eventually finally stuffs the pillow in, gets it all situated. It's looking great. She's like, her goal was like, okay, there's so much of the styrofoam all over the floor now. Mm-hmm. Can you hand me your vacuum cleaner? So Kim hands her the vacuum, and she goes to do it, but she's on the floor with the stuff, and it's like one of those Dyson vacuum cleaners, and it's a very powerful handheld vacuum cleaner.
Yeah,
and the exhaust is right at the back.
Yes,
and she's still on the floor next to the thing,
mm-hmm.
and she turned it on.
Yep,
and it just started snowing in my living room.
Yep.
And it was like she kept like going for the next area and then blowing stuff into the area that she just cleaned. It was comical. It felt like a honeymooner's skit. I feel like that's something that would happen there.
I can see that. Or
at the end of the day, yeah, that's true. She did get the pillow stuffed back in there and sewed it up, and I don't know how to sew. I could do it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do it right.
I definitely learned in like home ec and very, very simple stuff. I'm fun with.
I never took a home ec class.
We took it.
What does the ec stand for?
Home economics.
Economics?
Yes.
What does needlepoint have to do with economics?
Well, that's the home.
Got it. Home. It's home and economics? Is it like learning how to do things at home and finances? Do you balance a checkbook and sew at the same time?
We definitely learned how to do both of those things in that class. Not at the same time, though.
That's pretty cool.
They changed
I feel
it.
like could have used that. Like people that I went to school with could have used that.
Yes. So the problem is a lot of those classes I think have been somewhat dissolved because it was very, if you're a woman and you were in the 1950s, these are the things you need to learn.
Oh.
Well, then
was that its intention?
Yeah.
Was it teaching you how to be a housewife?
Yes.
Huh.
But then they're like, well, we'll just make everyone do it. And then eventually at some point, because like when I took it, because I'm obviously a couple of years younger than you, but not enough years for it to be like a substantial change in like curriculums and stuff like that.
Yeah, but is this one of those things where like the 2 years make some weird difference?
Well, the thing is that I was very much caught up in they were transitioning it type of thing. And so when I took it, it wasn't even home ec. Like that's what you like picture like watching a show or a movie in the 90s and they talked about it, right? It was always home ec.
Yeah.
So by the time I took it in the early mid 2000s, it was home and careers.
Interesting.
And so there was some things about like business, but very light.
Interesting. What a strange course.
Yeah, because it was mostly like baking and sewing and balancing a checkbook. And do you see where I'm getting at, where this is clearly designed to teach 1950s housewives how to be a housewife?
Sure. Yeah, nobody balances a checkbook. It's all done for you.
Yeah, well, I don't keep a checkbook. I sometimes I sometimes go to the bank and have them print me 3 or 4 checks, whatever comes on that sheet.
Sure. Yeah, I used to, when I had Chase, I would do that, and they would be like, we're like, they always try to charge you for them, and I'm like, oh, I already ordered them. They just didn't come yet. And they're like, okay. And how many do you need? And then they would just give them to me, and that would get me by for the next year.
I'm always like, can I have one check? And they're like, we have to print you a sheet of them. And I was like, but I only need one, and the other ones are going to be a nuisance because I'm not going to use them. And they're like, well, it's only like whatever, it's 3 or 4. I was like, okay. Like, do you just want a checkbook? And I was like, no, because I need to check like once a year.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, here's a sheet of 4 checks. And I'm like, okay, but at least they're free, so whatever.
Well, my current bank actually sends me free checkbooks if I want them, which is great.
Well, I think they would charge me for like reloads on them. That's why, because like my parents still keep a checkbook and they still get. I think they charge. I don't think it's a lot, but I think they charge you for like a new reload.
They normally do. This particular bank does not, which is nice.
Okay,
because they know they're like you don't use these. So here's a book. When you run out in 16 years, ask for another one.
So anyway,
keep that book in a lockbox.
So anyway, what I was getting to a couple of minutes ago, although I forgot because we tangented again and then tangented again, was your talk about Salt in the Wound.
Sure.
And shooting fuzz everywhere with the vacuum.
Sure.
And Honeymooner / Family Guy reminded me that last night I was watching an old Family Guy from one of the first couple of seasons. And it was the one where...
back when the outlines were much darker?
It was before they started... Yeah, it was like the colors were like very faded, like whitewash.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's so funny.
It's from like
I love that.
season 1, 2, or 3. I don't remember which season it was. This episode.
Mm-hmm.
It was the one where Chris witnesses a guy robbing a convenience store or whatever, and he identifies him, and they have to go into witness protection.
Okay,
and
this sounds vaguely familiar.
They go to somewhere in the deep south, and they don't have the house that they are given is a total shithole, and Peter has to go outside to a literal shithole in the outhouse, and he had been mauled by a raccoon minutes before that.
Sure.
And
that tracks.
something topples over the outhouse with him in it, which I'm 99% sure that's not how outhouses work. This is definitely how porta potties work, but not outhouses. And
right.
You just hear like a sloshing. He goes, oh God. Oh, it's everywhere. Oh, it's in my raccoon wounds.
Oh, it's so stupid. That shit is so silly.
So anyway, what were you thinking?
I don't know. Back just for 1 second though. Back to home ec. I didn't have home ec, but I did have to take care of an egg for a week as a baby. Did you do that?
That was in health class.
Yeah. You did that though?
Yes.
Some people were like, you have the choice of taking care of an egg or a thing of flour. I was like, I'm going to take care of this egg and put it in a Tupperware and keep it nice and fluffy in there so that we don't have to worry about it and not carry around this very heavy bag of flour.
They also did... Actually, no, we didn't even... I think they literally just made us walk around with, like, a baby doll. Like a... You know... But they also had the one that like was supposed to simulate a real baby, where like if you didn't support his head, it started crying, like ear screechingly crying. Yeah, and like also would just do it periodically, like a baby would.
Sure, they do that. They do that.
They do. I'm sure they do.
Yeah. You've heard it.
I have.
What we planned for this show.
I wasn't even just talking about your baby. Like I'm aware of the concept of babies.
My baby new today, actually hot news, hot off the press.
Hotter than your eyes?
He rolls over now, and it's really funny because he gets real excited about it, and he tries to roll, and he does it, and he swings his entire body until he finally gets it, and then he gets onto his stomach, and then he uses his head for momentum to roll back the other way. He just whips it over.
Same.
It's pretty great. And then when he gets there, he laughs, and he seems very proud of himself.
No, it's a big. It's one of the big milestones. Baby rolling over.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Pretty soon he'll be crawling.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. I can't wait to see that. I hope he terrorizes the cats. I think
the problem is they're probably going to play, well, pardon the pun, but cat and mouse. Like, they're probably going to terrorize each other.
Maybe. One of my cats, actually, you'll. This is a deep cut. This is a Dexter deep cut.
Oh, boy.
You ready for this? Chickpea. I've got 2 cats, Chickpea and Garbanzo. Chickpea every once in a while goes through a phase where she's just like really on edge and like will startle herself awake, kind of like a baby, but like will jump like 16 feet in the air.
Oh,
Like she just like will be dead asleep and then jump straight up in the air.
I have seen cats do that before. Yeah,
and it's terrifying, especially when like you're just relaxed and in the room, and then
you
she
see
like
your
knocks
cat launched to the fucking moon. Yeah,
launches to the roof, but like hits like 3 things on her way up and knocks them over. It's crazy. Anyway, Chickpea we constantly call Chicky, and the first time that this happened, we were watching an episode of Dexter where a character that they were after was Chickpea Heinz.
Oh yeah,
and every time she's developed this whatever syndrome during the Chickpea Heinz case. So anytime she starts acting like this, we say that she's Heinzing. And she hasn't Heinzed in a while. Lo and behold, we're watching New Dexter, and we have this little house for her at Christmas that we take down from the attic. It's like this cardboard house to Santa's workshop, and it's basically just like one of those little cat things that you could lay on. It's cardboard pieces, and she loves it. She goes inside. It's like a little cave. She was asleep, and she Heinzed in the house, and it went everywhere. It just like exploded.
Jesus.
Anyway, that's Chickpea Heinz. What are we drinking?
I was gonna say this might be the most prolonged intro to the beer that we've had in some time.
It's the rambliest of rambliest.
Yes. It's the other fuckeries-ist of other fuckeries.
This is true.
So we're drinking Industrial Arts Brewing Company's Metric, which coincidentally, while being not very far from my house and where I have gone and purchased beer, you actually gave me this one, I'm 99% sure.
Classic.
So this is a Pilsner-style lager with notes of... No.
With notes of herbal tradition.
Yes. I refuse. Pilsner style lager with notes of crisp and herbal tradition. No! No!
What is a note of herbal tradition?
It's made with bits of real panther, I guess. I don't know. It's 4.7% alcohol by volume. It came in a pint.
Excellent.
It has the classic Industrial Arts can art, which I'm sure you are a fan of.
I am. I really like it. It's nice. It also is raised in certain parts, and that makes me happy.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess so. I
don't really understand how it almost seems. Oh, you know what? Hang on. These might be little dents. These might be micro dents in the can. I feel like. Yeah, it's totally not raised. Sorry, it looks.
Apparently,
mine is raised. This is good art.
Well. Apparently, this is mine was dented as well. I went to the website because there was not much on this can, and at the bottom of the can it says "Go to Industrial Arts for more." I was like, okay, fair enough.
Huh.
Description: classic, creamy, and herbaceous. Clean malt and refined noble hop character come together in the best way. Repeatable.
Whatever. Repeatable.
That's what it says.
Like I'm going to repeat it.
Yeah.
Or I should drink it again.
I think that.
I would prefer not to repeat this after we drink it.
It also
most times I consume something, I'm trying not to repeat it.
It partners up nicely with Tools of the Trade or Landscape beer.
What?
Tools of the Trade is another Industrial Arts beer. It's
wait, is it pairs?
Yeah, I don't understand how a beer pairs with a beer. Typically, you pair it with food,
I guess if you're gonna double fist.
Ah.
This is what you can put in your other fist.
If you're gonna do like a black and tan, but instead of black or tan, it's Metric and Tools of the Trade.
Sure. Put that in your toolbox.
Stick that in your toolbox and wrench it.
Sure. I'll allow it.
Wrench is the main Industrial Arts beer. So
that's right. It's like the pink lettering on the can. Wrench.
I want to say yes.
I like that one. I like the ones that I've had from them.
Yeah.
I gave you this.
I'm fairly certain.
Fascinating. Huh? Shall we try it?
Yes, please.
I would assume if I gave it to you, I've had it already.
Cheers.
But cheers. I was like, in what world? I'm hitting metal on glass. This is plastic. What is this sound? Do it again.
There you go.
Ah, nice. Very nice. You just shattered the glass. That'll be about on par with the rest of today.
It would not be surprising because this is a very delicate, ornate glass. So
that's
It's definitely herbaceous. It definitely has
That's-
herbal traditions.
It has herbal traditions. I can taste them. You get the herbal traditions on the nose.
Can you please put that in your notes for like 6 weeks from now? Because I'm gonna forget. And can you please introduce me as the herbal tradition?
The herbal tradition. I could try.
This is a pretty hoppy.
Pilsner.
This is a pretty hoppy pilsner. I'm not used to my pilsner being so inundated with hops, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a nice change of direction, but it is noticeably hoppy for being a pilsner.
Yeah. It's got that I guess they say crisp, but I feel like that's dry to me.
I think sometimes those words are used interchangeably.
Are they? I feel like they shouldn't be. Like when I think crisp, I think like biting into an apple. I think that sweet snap that you get from it. I don't think dry. I don't know what else to say.
Well, I think
it's got a champagniness to it.
Sometimes fresh is also used like synonymously with it too. In these, like I would see that.
I would go with fresh.
Yeah.
You know what? How I would describe this?
What?
Herbally traditional.
Is it also crisply traditional?
It's crisply herbal.
Or is it traditionally crisp?
Crisply. That's hard to say. Crisply.
Crisply?
Crisply. I don't know why my tongue stops.
Crisply.
Crisply.
Chrysanthemum.
The words become the sound.
Herbaceous.
What are you? Where are you at vis-a-vis the Thuckles?
I mean, as I've often lamented on the show, I'm not the hugest fan of Pilsner. So I'm kind of like, it's good. It's a good example of a Pilsner. And definitely, if you forced me to drink a Pilsner, this might be the one I would choose. So I guess I was thinking 1, but maybe 2 Thuckles, I think.
Yeah. I think I'll go 2 Thuckles on it.
It's definitely a quality product. It's just not my cup of tea. Or beer, if you will.
Sure, it's absolutely not your cup of tea. Yeah, did you watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
No.
There's a character.
I know you were a big fan, but
Teddy, who is just a dud. And Jake is trying to, Andy Samberg character, is trying to convey how much of a dud this guy is. And he's just like, his favorite beers are Pilsners. And I always think about that when I have a Pilsner.
Fair.
Although there was that one, I think you had an alternate ending, that slow pour Pilsner.
Yes.
And they're like, it's going to take them 5 minutes to pour it. And it's like, okay. Now I'm curious. I mean, I really like that one.
That was kind of the only reason I ordered it, just because it seemed like some sort of event. And I was like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
We're here for an experience. Let's have an experience.
No. I like that one.
Yeah, it was solid. I mean, I don't remember what it tasted like, but I remember liking it. I remember liking it.
You know what it tasted like? Was a Pilsner. As far as I can recall. High praise.
I mean, honestly, you can't go much higher with the praise of a Pilsner than to say that it tastes like a Pilsner.
It is, in fact, a Pilsner.
I can confirm this is a Pilsner.
Al, some things have happened since we talked last. Some news, some nuggets.
Correct.
What is happening?
You want to talk trailers?
I like to talk trailer. What?
Are you sure it's just crisply and it's not just talking?
I don't know. It's crisply. My eyes are bleeding. It's unclear what's going on. Like I said before, I don't even know if we were recording. I tripped like 3 times on my way into this room, and there's not a lot of steps. I think the majority of steps from when I get down here to into this room is what I tripped.
You fell down the stairs.
No, it's like 5 steps from the bottom of the steps into this room, and I think I tripped on 3 of them. Not the steps. Stepping. Like, my steps.
You tripped on 60% of the steps walking into the room.
Ugh. Falling apart.
Which trailer?
Let's start with the
piqued your curiosity.
Fantastic Beasts and how to extend them.
Yes, that's what we're going with, the new working title. So this is
as you know, as listeners of the show know, I'm a fan of the Fantastic Beasts movies. I like them. The Fantastic Beasts title is not really necessary. After the first one was kind of cool, but like it's really kind of strayed away from that.
You think?
I think so.
Oh yeah, no, I was not being sarcastic towards you, but towards the movies themselves. Like,
this one is called Fantastic Beasts : movie
The
title,
Secrets
right?
of Dumbledore, yes.
Yeah. Okay. It could just be The Secrets of Dumbledore. Like that could be the.
Yeah, but they gotta brand it as it's part of this series, which started with Fantastic Beasts. All these movies do this now, like, and I get it to an extent, but it does seem to have lost like the spirit of like how that matters. Like, there was First Blood, and then there was Rambo First Blood Part 2, and then Rambo 3, right? So
Yeah. Well, then there's like those. I think the Twilight movies all have like Twilight and then The Thing, but I'm pretty sure the book names are just the actual subtitle of those movies, right?
yeah, it's the same way that Game of Thrones is actually called The Song of Ice and Fire.
That's right.
They named the first season Game of Thrones, which is the name of the first book, and then each season was also Game of Thrones.
Well, now we have name recognition.
Yes.
Also, I feel like that was more accessible.
Game of Thrones is probably more intriguing to the outside observer than A Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah. Are we talking elements? What are we doing with this show over here?
Is it a musical? I don't understand.
Extreme elements. Yeah. What? So that trailer, did it come out today? I did see it before you sent it to me, which is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was either
exciting
today or yesterday. It might have been yesterday. I think it was yesterday.
I was only really half paying attention watching it. I was definitely doing something else, but I was excited to see the movie. I also know from experience with these trailers that I probably shouldn't pay close attention.
Yeah, I think like for all three movies, the trailers have been pretty great, actually. And
okay,
like the movies,
I was worried that it was going to be too much of the story.
There's no story at all in this one.
Okay,
I have no idea what it was about.
Tone.
Yeah,
it was the Hans Zimmer of trailers.
It's just further, like the last one, the trailer and the movie positioned like Dumbledore doesn't want to get involved, but he does want to kind of set some other people on the right way, on the right path to stop Grindelwald. This one, seems more overt that Dumbledore's like, well, okay, I guess I like crack my knuckles, roll up my sleeves, and get involved here because this isn't working.
Sure. Who is Mads Mikkelsen?
He has replaced the disgraced Johnny Depp as Grindelwald.
Oh. Are they going to deep fake him into the older movies?
Like the way they did in the 37th re-release of Star Wars with what's his name is Palpatine?
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, I think they should do it. That bit of it was lost on me. I kind of just assumed it was him, but I didn't know for sure.
Yeah, we definitely talked about it like a year ago when they were shooting the movie and they announced that Mikkelsen was recast. We definitely talked about it, but I can understand why you would have forgotten. You know what comes out next week? You know what comes out next week? The King's Man, which was supposed to come out like 2 years ago. What? They keep re-releasing trailers for.
What? No. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah,
right, you forgot that was a thing.
I like those movies.
I know. We were very excited for it when they announced it. That was like the first movie or one of the first movies that got canceled at the beginning of the pandemic. Like not canceled, but like pushed back on hiatus.
That's crazy. I'm pumped for that. I gotta say, weekly or bi-weekly, I think of that of him screaming the song "Country Roads" and sacrificing himself. That was so good.
There was a while. Merlin.
Merlin, that's the one.
There was a period of time where that song was on in one of my stores like pretty often. And I would just think about that scene, obviously, every time I heard that song because it was a classic rendition. That whole scene, bittersweet, both cracked me up and also made me very sad.
Oh yeah, didn't expect to go on such a roller coaster in that movie.
No, I didn't.
Those movies have a great style, though. Like that's why I'm excited to see another one. It's like I don't know. I feel like it very much like doesn't feel like some other movie. It's like that's a Kingsman movie.
Which is funny considering it's now taking place in like World War I instead of present day, and it's a prequel. But yeah,
I'm excited.
Oh, so am I. I was intrigued and excited to see it when it first came out, and then I was supposed to come out, and then I totally forgot about it. But then they've been like re-releasing and like recutting new trailers for the last couple of months. Like, hey guys, this is still happening. Like, just hang on. Which happened with a lot of things. Like, right, Dune did that. The James Bond movie did that. Like a few movies that that
I
suffered
still
the
haven't
brunt
seen
of
that. I forgot about that.
No Time to Die.
Yeah.
It was good. It was not what I expected it to be, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
It's wow, and that's definitely out of theaters, right? At this point,
Probably it came out like 2 months ago.
pretty sure that's the first Bond movie since GoldenEye that I haven't seen in theaters.
Really
crazy. Yeah,
I
just didn't get to go because of life.
I didn't see GoldenEye in theaters. I didn't see it until it was on TV, or maybe I saw it at your house like as a rental, or you'd bought it. I saw Tomorrow Never Dies as a rental. Pretty sure I want to say I went to the theater for The World Is Not Enough. Definitely did for Die Another Day.
Sure.
But I didn't for Casino Royale, and I didn't for Quantum or Spectre.
Quantum.
So
Marsala, as my dad says.
Is he just hungry when he talks about it, or?
I think sometimes he doesn't know exactly what the word is and just lets it flow.
By the way, happy birthday to your dad.
Happy birthday. No.
Oh,
Elio has an I Heart No bib on in his birthday picture.
That's cute.
Oh man, that's exciting. The Kingsman. We're here talking about Fantastic Beasts and the Secrets of Dumbledore. Yet, very excited about Kingsman. Kingsman. What was it?
The King's Man. Yes.
The King's Man.
Yes.
That's exciting.
But anyway, back to what's that?
When does Dumbledore come out? When is he?
I believe it's April of 2022.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah, it's approaching. I listen. We are a pro Mads Mikkelsen podcast. This has been well established. We both enjoy Mads, and so I'm excited to see him. Honestly, when it first came out that they were talking to him, I was like, oh yeah, he's perfect for this. Why not? And even to a certain point, I was like, well, I wish they had just cast him to begin with, because that one makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. The recast is painful for me.
What do you do when
I find it very jarring.
In the process of making the third movie of a 5-movie series?
Yeah. 5? That's awesome.
I thought so.
I like when there's a lot of stuff coming my way. No, I don't blame them. It's just one of those things that I find jarring. Then there's times when it works out. Like I prefer Don Cheadle. We've talked about this in the past. Times there it doesn't work out. The Dark Knight. I'm just not a huge fan of Maggie Gyllenhaal. And until Far From Home, I wasn't really a huge fan of Jake Gyllenhaal, I don't think. But I really liked him as Mysterio.
He had started to turn for me. I didn't, not like I disliked him, but I just kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
He was good in, was it Nightcrawler? I think it was
Didn't
Nightcrawler.
see it. What was that funky movie you had me watch with him?
Enemy. Denis Villeneuve.
That was a wow.
He was good in that.
If only we had planned that for a segue. But we have more trailers to discuss.
Yes.
No, but very excited for. One thing I was going to ask, Mads Mikkelsen, is that like his trademark hair? Like, is it not allowed to change? You think that's in his contract? Like, I feel like his very specific like comb over is him.
I don't think he had that exactly. He did 2 movies that were almost exactly the same movie, and both of them were kind of like the gray that Liam Neeson was in.
Liam Neeson's though.
That Liam Nelson's though doesn't have the same ring to it. No. But yeah, no, I guess he kind of always does have it. I mean, listen, sometimes you find a hairstyle that works for you and you just stick with it forever.
Yeah.
Like you've basically.
Are you gonna stick with the Thackeray Banks forever?
We'll see. No, and
the listeners can't see it, but Al has an old timey ponytail.
It's what I find works best when I need to keep the hair away.
I think that you need to up your game, and as part of your episode ensemble, I'm not suggesting you put a shirt on, but you know the thing.
Good, because I won't.
The frilly thing that goes in the shirt by the neck. You know what I'm talking about? What's that thing called?
Frilly lace cravat.
That's it. Yeah, I would like you to have just that.
One next Swedish penis pump.
It's not mine.
One receipt for Swedish penis enlarger.
How does that get in there?
That's not my bag, baby. Swedish penis enlargers. They are my bag, baby. The user manual.
Oh man, I have to rewatch those. It's been a hot minute since I've seen an Austin Powers movie. Do they hold up?
Probably not.
Yeah, I would guess now. Cool. Well, Fantastic Beasts. April sounds nice. Other trailers.
Other trailer.
This gem that you sent me just before the show, man. Oh man, was it? I mean, I'm all in.
Yeah, and I'm not really. I haven't really been here for the shtick for the last decade, but leaning fully into busting directly through the fourth wall and making an entire movie about the fourth wall.
Right.
The unbearable weight of massive talent. Is that what it is? Because we keep struggling with
the unbearable weight of massive talent.
Nicolas Cage playing Nicolas Cage.
Which is great.
Turned up to 11 on a scale of 1 to 10 Nicolas Cages. Not even the 1 to 10 people.
Right. Oh, man.
I'm going to read the synopsis real quick.
Please.
A cash-strapped Nicolas Cage agrees to make a paid appearance at a billionaire superfan's birthday party, but is really an informant for the CIA since the billionaire fan is a drug kingpin and gets cast in a Tarantino.
Amazing. That is the run-on sentence of synopsis is just fantastic.
Yeah, that was all one sentence. Can confirm, one period.
Oh man, I love it. I'm very excited. It looks very silly. He looks great. That's first off. He looks like he's having time of his life in there. It's very big for the Spin June proper for this movie is because prior to Flix and the Six, there was I would call it the soft launch of the Spin June, which was the Shit Show podcast. There wasn't a Shit Show episode that went by where we didn't bring up Nicolas Cage.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, like we talked about him constantly. We would always go to the numbers of movies that certain people have, and he would come up to the top. But love me some Nicolas Cage. Very excited for that one. When does that come out?
That is a great question, which I wish I had an answer for you for. It just says 2022.
Okay, so probably not next year.
I don't know. They had a pretty full trailer. It looked like it had a lot of. It looked like it had a lot of detail to it. It looked like they had a lot of things shot already.
Yeah, it looks fairly complete. But.
Also, I appreciate not only if we get to do that, will that be the first Nicolas Cage movie we did on the show?
No. Is that true?
With the exception, unless you consider Into the Spider-Verse a Nicolas Cage movie, that's got to be... No, we did Face Off, sorry. We did Face Off.
That's right, we did Face Off.
Okay.
I remember there was a time not that long ago, was I sick? And I watched the National Treasure movies, and I had some weird fever dreams, but I can't remember if I was...
I remember you talking about that, but we did not do that for the show, yes.
No. I can't remember if I was sick or if that was after I got the second dose of the vaccine. I think it might have been
it might have been when you were recuperating from that.
Yeah.
Because the second shot hit you pretty hard, right?
It did. The third one knocked me out a little bit too, but not nearly as bad.
I was fine with the second one. Hopefully, I'm having the third one on Monday, so hopefully it's fine. But anyway, getting back to the movie, not only do we get Nicolas Cage playing Max Nicolas Cage, we also often lament not having enough Pedro Pascal, and
that's true.
Here he comes.
He looks like he's having about as much fun as he was in Wonder Woman, which is good. That's a good thing.
Life's pretty good. It could be better,
but it could be better. Yeah, I feel like that's gonna be a really fun ride. Definitely for a specific audience.
Yeah, Nicolas
lucky
Cage.
For us, that's us.
Well, I already saw Nicolas Cage has become like the muse of cinephobe. Maybe it always was from the beginning. And this past year, they did themed months, and of course, Nicolas Cage was one of the months this year. Nice. And I saw the guys talking about this trailer. And they're like, I don't care. He goes, it's going to be impossible to do for the show because it's definitely going to rank too highly. It's going to be rated too highly on Rotten Tomatoes for us to do it. He goes, we're going to have to break down the walls to the Laboratory Show. We're going to have to go on Mystery Crate and break the rules the way that they did for the first Mortal Kombat because Mike Ryan, the executive producer of the Laboratory Show, is also as big of a Nicolas Cage fan as they are. And they're like, no, this is going to happen. We're going to have to do it. Like,
awesome.
Doesn't matter. So I'm excited to see that, even though I wouldn't necessarily say I'm the biggest Nicolas Cage fan, even though I'm a huge fan of The Rock and Con Air. And
Sure.
I liked the National Treasure movies when they came out. And I liked Face Off. And
I haven't seen Con Air in ages.
oh, that's a classic
Yeah.
AMC, like Tuesday evening, Saturday afternoon type of movie.
Did you say Tuesday evening?
Yeah. Not Tuesday night.
Tuesday evening, Saturday afternoon. Is that are those time slots that are equivalent?
Absolutely.
Fascinating.
Listen, it's been a while since you've had cable TV.
I know, but I believe it. That's awesome. I think I'll have to rewatch that one. That's gonna have to make its way onto the show. I think.
Put the bunny back in the box. I can't do a Nicolas Cage doing a terrible Southern accent impression. So
sure, it sounds difficult. Al, you have a Denis Villeneuve for me?
I have a Denis Villeneuve for you, and that is to say,
not a Denis Villeneuve.
No, this is a full-blown new.
Okay.
This is the announcement of Dune director Denis Villeneuve's sci-fi adaptation, his next movie. It's from.
I was waiting for you to say his sci-fi adaptation of the second half of the Dune book.
No, this is on IGN. This was from, I believe, earlier today. In addition to working on Dune Part 2, we've now learned that Dune director Denis Villeneuve, his next film, will take him to the sci-fi world of Rendezvous with Rama. Rendezvous with Rama is a 1973 sci-fi novel by Arthur C. Clarke, and it centers on a group of explorers who intercept and explore an alien spaceship. Villeneuve has explored alien contact in the past with his movie Arrival, and will likely bring his grand-scale vision of sci-fi here as well. It's great because I was talking about Arrival with Mike the other day. Hey, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
And I was like, man, that's like a deep cut for anyone who's a fan of this show. One of our first episodes, going back to one of our very lightly used, but one of our best running jokes of Abort and Costello. Yeah. The novel won both Hugo and Nebula Awards when it was released, 2 awards that recognize outstanding works of science fiction. Clarke is best known for penning the screenplay and novel for 2001: A Space Odyssey. THR reported on the adaptation and revealed Morgan Freeman will work with Villeneuve on the project as a producer. There's no timeline. There's no word on the timeline for this project, but we know that Villeneuve also has his hands full with Dune Part 2, which is scheduled for October 2023. He said the sequel will start filming in July of 2022, and that the script is currently in the works.
Man, I don't want to wait that long for the second part of Dune.
Honestly, 2 years is a quicker turnaround than I feared. So,
yeah, I guess we probably would have had it if this came out when it was supposed to. If Dune came out when it was supposed to, it would probably be next year, I guess.
Yeah, I would think so.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, this really doesn't tell me anything except that he has a new project, sci-fi aliens. That sounds
well.
Cool.
If you want a Vil Nugget at the end of this film, he has also publicly said that he wishes to direct a James Bond film, saying, "It's a character that I've been with since my childhood. I have massive affection for Bond." However, the director also said he thinks it'd be hard to reboot the series in the Craig era.
Sure. I want to go back to campy Bond. I'm
highly
ready for it.
Doubt that a Villeneuve Bond would be campy.
What if he has this skill to flex?
I mean, listen, I wouldn't put it past him that he could succeed at it. I just would doubt that would be the direction he'd choose for it to go. I would watch the shit out of the Bond movie that he made, though.
Quick question.
Okay.
Do we rename this segment to Denis Villeneuve?
we can. We can do whatever we want.
Boy. Yeah, that's cool. Arrival is a good movie.
Yep. I only saw it the one time for the show, and
Same.
I loved the movie. And it's not necessarily a movie that feels deeply rewatchable in the sense of, oh, I need to watch it again real soon because it is heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it's time.
Yeah. Yeah, enough time has passed that I don't remember the beats.
Yeah, like I remember all the big picture stuff and like...
I can't even say I remember the big picture.
No, I definitely remember that. But the order of operations and such and all the nitty-gritty fine details... And plus, I'm sure it's the type of thing that rewatching it would probably reveal some things you missed. So
yeah. We haven't done a rewatch on the show yet. Is that ever going to happen? You think? There's so many things for us to do.
Maybe for like our 10th
And
anniversary, like revisit a movie from early on and like do it again and just, like compare and contrast how that show looks.
Or we just do an Abbott and Costello movie. Anyway, that's cool. I like his work. I'm excited for more. Was that it for your news and nuggets?
Yes.
So it's time for what we're watching, what we're consuming.
Oh,
we're
wait,
watching,
sorry.
Whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
One final, as a transition from news to watching.
Sure.
I knew it was coming up, but I forgot that by the time this episode airs, season 2 of The Witcher will have kicked off.
That's right.
Because that comes out this
I
Friday.
actually was going to bring that up during this segment.
Okay, so perfect transition.
Yeah, it's perfect. I'm excited. I like having a new show like that coming about. Especially, I really enjoyed the first season. So, especially and the fact that like when it was like, oh, The Witcher's coming out in a couple of weeks, I was like, oh, right, and now it's here.
Like a month or so ago, I was like, oh, I'd really kind of like to rewatch the first season just to revisit it because it's been so long. I failed miserably. I did not watch a single second of it again. I definitely will not have time in the next 2 days. So we're just gonna have to go right into it.
I will say I am missing this year my last 2 years of doing The Mandalorian at this time.
Well, we had it last year, right?
And the year before, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Sorry, just the way you phrased that confused me. But
yeah,
in its place, we can have Witcher watch.
Witcher,
and we can.
What you watching?
Plus, we also get Book of Boba's right around the corner too. So
that's true. Which we could continue to do Manda watch for. I feel like
a Fett featurette.
Okay, sign me up. I love it. I'm in.
Well, it'll be perfect because we always did Manda watch after the credits, so we could do a Fett featurette like after the credits roll.
Yeah, that's great. Ooh, look forward to that. I can't wait to watch that. I just want more of those things. It's so exciting, so entertaining. I will be watching The Witcher, but I'm not yet because this is being recorded before that. So great.
At least 48 hours.
Are you consuming?
Oh, we're gonna go back and forth.
Sure.
So last Friday, I consumed the premiere of season 6, the final season of The Expanse. And it was pretty good. It was a shorter episode than I would have liked, although a little bit of a cheat code. So I was reading like into depth into like how the production of this final season went, and like how the studio and Amazon and the showrunners pitched back and forth and settled on a 6-episode season, which I was a little disappointed by. But they're like, oh, the episodes are a little longer, and especially it sounds like the finale itself is going to basically kind of be a movie. It's going to be almost an hour
that's
and a half,
cool.
I think.
That's awesome.
But one little thing that they did was they, after editing a cohesive episode, it sounds like for the first 5 episodes, there's going to be a little mini like webisode type thing at the end of each one. And it seems like it's probably they shot a lot of scenes and then edited them down or edited them out because it didn't fit with the flow of the episode. So the first episode had basically it amounted to a one shot that filled in deeper context to some of the relationships. And it was like kind of a follow on to a major-ish thing that happened. It was like a 6-minute short after the episode. So the 47-minute episode really basically became about a 53-minute episode, which fair enough. So if all 5 of them ends up being 5 to 8 minutes long, you're getting basically a whole nother episode over the course of the season. So that seems like a fair trade-off. Cool. Although I will say, Amazon made it incredibly frustrating to access this because have you ever noticed when you watch on Amazon, I don't know if you've ever explored this feature, there's the X-ray thing that you could click on when you pause. And a lot of times it has like links to like different like character stuff or bonus like information or like still shots or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was informed while reading before the premiere that these mini episodes would be in the X-ray tab. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. If you like people never really explore and you want to push more people to explore it, like that seems like a way to do it. So me and Dom's friend Brian watched the show together. We started the book club reading The Expanse together. So Friday after work, I went by, we watched the episode. Sounds like we're going to try and do that weekly on Friday nights, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
And because he lives 5 minutes away. And So we finished watching the episode. I mentioned this thing to him, and we try and find it in the X-ray tab, and it's not there. I'm like, what? So we tried like backing out, back to like the homepage of the Expanse and of the episode itself and of the season and all that stuff. Could not find it. So what the fuck? I was lied to. So I went online. I'm looking. It seems like it only exists in certain formats because I think you can access it on a browser or on the mobile device, but it sounds like for whatever reason there was no link to it on. We were watching it on like the Amazon app on a smart TV. It's like, that's fucking infuriating. So now, after me and him are watching it on a TV, we're now watching the final 6-minute thing on my phone.
Oh, come on.
And the worst, like adding insult to injury, I like signed on to his network and I was like, well, I'm going to cheat and just cast it to the television.
Sure.
Cast the episode, go to click on the bonus thing, reverse back to the phone. I was like, you motherfucker.
Wow.
Yes.
What a weird thing to do. And why?
Yeah, there's no good reason for that.
No. This is for toilet viewing only. What I get out of that? That's dumb. Yeah. I caught up on a couple of episodes of Hot Ones.
I've not watched that in a very long time. Since like when it first really spiked in popularity and like you and me were talking about the Paul Rudd one and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of those. They're very fun, super entertaining. I watched the Tom Holland episode, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but is it Simu Liu,
I believe so.
Main character of
Shang-Chi?
I watched his episode too. They were both had me really just like laughing out loud, especially Tom Holland. He cracks me up. So that's been a lot of fun. Big fan of Hot Ones.
I think I saw something about, was Halle Berry on recently, and she like absolutely demolished those wings.
Don't know. I haven't caught up on all the episodes. I will put them on, and then like I'll watch the next 3 that play in the queue, and then like I'll be like, okay, that's enough for now.
I think I saw a snippet about it online, and I was like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot that that's still a thing. Because didn't he have like some other spin-off show too?
Well, that whole group, they do a lot of different things. First We Feast. So they have a lot of shows. But...
No, but like specifically...
Oh, like Sean Evans. Like, does he?
Yeah, specifically something? Like Hot Ones, like spin-off thing.
He may. I don't know. I have a key in my pocket. That's Kim's key. Yeah, that's Hot Ones. What else are you watching, consuming, doing, enjoying?
So on Saturday and Sunday, I caught up on having been behind a couple of weeks of Succession and Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Okay.
So Sunday night, well, the last Succession ended with kind of a cliffhanger, slightly. A potential cliffhanger. Not even like 100% sure it was one when it ended. It could have just been a mood thing. And so I went to fire up the episode on Monday because I didn't have time to watch it Sunday night because I was exhausted. And I found out when I went to fire it up that it was the season finale. I was like, no, why? And also online, everyone is talking about it. It was like, shit, trying to like avoid the spoilers because I didn't realize it was the season finale because it was only the 9th episode. I didn't realize that they wasn't 10 this season. I was like, fuck. Like, it did seem like it was burning along towards the end game, but I just assumed I had 2 more episodes ahead of me and instead I had 1. So I watched it Monday night. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Anyone, I don't want to spoil it in any way, shape, or form, especially since you don't watch the show, but I'm sure eventually it's going to pique your interest enough. I've been talking about it long enough that it's going to get you eventually.
Yeah.
Man, fans of history will really appreciate the twists and turns of this episode. And fans of the history of this show, in case you haven't gotten to it like you were like me and we're a little bit behind. We're like, okay, I'm going to get to it now. Finally, I have time. Man, what a fucking finale. What a show.
Cool. I love walking away feeling that way.
It's absolutely riveting. There's some stuff, the twists and turns, the twist in this one. Like I said, if you're a fan of history, you might have been able to see where it was coming. And watching it all tie together, and there's some videos that made it out online of people tying together the narrative and thematic threads from the show, and especially from this season, to how the finale played out. I was like, oh shit, it was there all along for us to see. And like, it was one of a million things that had been kind of filed away in the back of my head where it's like, ooh, that could be a thing, that could be a thing, that could be a thing. But just the depth of detail of this plot line was incredible.
That's awesome. I love stuff like that. I love putting in the investment on a show, and then when the credits roll on that final episode, just being like, again.
Yes.
Again, please. Roll it again.
That's
awesome.
Again.
I finally watched a Christmas movie.
Okay.
It's a little late for me. I usually try to get a few in already by this
point.
Oh,
you haven't watched any to this point?
No, I don't think so. I may have put one on in the background. I put Elf on while we were decorating the tree, and I had Home Alone.
Yeah, you put Elf on the shelf. Got
it. But we watched 8-Bit Christmas, which is available on HBO Max.
I don't know that one.
And it was great. It was so good. I love when I get to watch a new Christmas movie that I haven't seen before, and it really just hits home. It is about, it is narrated by Neil Patrick Harris, who is a character in the movie. He's telling his daughter the story about the Christmas that he wanted. They're playing an NES at his parents' house, and the story about how he got the NES. And it starts off with his daughter not really wanting to hear it because she wants a phone for Christmas. Is this whole parallel thing, and then he starts telling the story, and she's getting more and more into it, and you can see that. Every time they cut back to him telling her the story, they're getting more into what they're doing, and they're it's more having more of a holiday feel. It's really fun, but the cast of kids that they got to play the young version of Neil Patrick Harris and his friends, they are tremendous actors. They did such a good job. They're so funny. They have great chemistry, and it's all 80s references. It's I love how they recreated mall scenes and things like that with old product stock and stuff like that makes it look so good. And man, it's so silly and so heartwarming. And it was a perfect Christmas movie. I was really happy.
The name of that sounds vaguely familiar, but I definitely don't know anything about it.
I think you would really enjoy it.
It's funny. Was that from this year? Or is it from a couple of years ago? Or
I think it's this year. I mean, I've never heard of it before. I just saw it. I just happened to see it when I opened HBO Max. So
it's funny because I hadn't seen a new Christmas movie in a long time, and last year I saw, was it Klaus or Klaus? I forget how it was pronounced.
Klaus, yeah.
Klaus, yeah. I watched that for the first time last year, and I think it was from the year before or 2 years before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was pretty good. It was good to see everyone.
We had that one on, but we had just found out that Kim was pregnant, and we were very distracted. So I didn't really fully watch it. I have fond memories of it because of the time.
Yeah. I thankfully have gotten my Christmas movie viewing in over the course of the month, and I think a pretty good pace. I may not get to all of the ones that I would like or not mind seeing. I've seen Elf. I saw both Home Alones. I saw White Christmas last weekend. I've seen Christmas Vacation plus a couple of other snippets of Christmas Vacation. I have not gotten to It's a Wonderful Life, which I can kind of take or leave, but my dad loves it, so usually we all watch it together.
Did you watch it? Have you watched the colored version of it?
I watched it we didn't do it for the show last year, did we?
I think we did.
We did. I said that was the first time I ever watched it in color.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was cool. I liked that.
I did get to one new Christmas movie this year, not new to the world, but new to me, and it's going to be the one we feature for next week's episode for Christmas.
My favorite Christmas movie.
Just Friends. So that was an experience. And
I love it so much.
I know you do. I'm trying to remember, is there any other Christmas movies I've missed? I didn't see any of the old... Sorry, I saw one of the old animated ones, animated in quotations. I did watch Santa Claus is Coming to Town, which I think is probably my favorite of all of those. I haven't
rewatched those classics in a long time. I have them all.
We bought them for my dad a few years ago because he loved all of those because they came out obviously when he was a kid, and I think they watched Rudolph and one of the other ones, maybe Frosty, the night I was out playing poker. So I missed that I know I caught part of A Year Without a Santa Claus on TV a few weekends ago.
Yeah, there was one. I lost it. I haven't seen the animated ones in a long time. I really do. I loved those. I definitely excited to watch them with the little guy at some point. But yeah, I think I have to kick it into gear and start putting a couple on. Maybe we have to watch one every night within the next week to really catch up.
That's probably the only way that you could do it.
I'm okay with overloading on it. You do cocktails one night, hot cocoa the next night. We'll make it work. We'll be good. We can eggnog the next night. You do eggnog? Are you an eggnog guy? It seems like something you wouldn't like.
I'm a bigger fan of coquito.
Of what?
Coquito?
I thought you said cookie dough. And I'm like, these are not similar things.
I mean, I was never a big fan of raw cookie dough, but baked cookie dough cookies, yeah.
Baked cookie doughs are in fact cookies. What did you say?
Coquito. Coquito. It's kind of like
Coquito.
Puerto Rican eggnog, basically. But instead of with whatever terrible things that go into eggnog, it's primarily I think it's coconut cream and cinnamon and spiced rum and all that. It's delightful.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, it's really
I would like to make that happen. I'm going to have to look up a recipe for that. Never heard of it.
I will send you a recipe. I found one last year, made it. It was delightful. But my dad has a woman who works for him. She makes it and hands it out to some people at Christmas every year. And he brought home a huge pitcher. Doesn't do it justice. It's like one of those Gatorade jugs that has a spout at the bottom.
Yeah.
Not that, but not a lot smaller than that, but with a spout at the bottom. And it's taking up 50% of the downstairs fridge. And I had a little bigger than a mini keg, smaller than a Gatorade cooler.
Got it.
It's pretty tasty. I will dig up at some point in the next day or two my recipe, and I will send it to you. And you can try making it because I made it last year for the first time, and it was so good.
Nice. I'll definitely make it. I could use a holiday drink like that. I made eggnog last year or 2 years ago. From scratch, did the whole thing. It was a lot, and when it was done, I was like, I could see how this is a good eggnog, but I think I like crappy eggnog better.
I don't because it tastes like bubblegum.
No.
Yes, it does. Yes, it absolutely does.
It does. No, I disagree.
Yeah, it does. It's because it's the high fructose corn syrup. It literally tastes like a ball of bubblegum.
No way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe I like a mediocre, not bad. not. The thing is, the homemade one I found to be too loose, even though it wasn't like watery. It was still had a thickness to it.
I hated that description of that. So
there's no way that you were gonna like eggnog. I just
no. I mean, I've had it since I was a kid, and I've always every year I'm not sure if I like it. And then I had several years where I hadn't had it. I had 3 different types of it last Christmas. I had varying mileage with all of them. It's fine. But all of it has the subtle aftertaste or not so subtle aftertaste of gumball.
That's insane to me. I'm gonna have to think gumball next time I drink it. And
that's the problem is you're gonna forget about this conversation until the moment you go to take a sip, and then it's gonna pop into the back of your mind as you're taking a sip.
You're gonna ruin eggnog for me. That will be terrible because I don't like bubblegum flavored things.
I like bubblegum. It's been a long time since I've had it, but I don't mind it as far as gum. It's not. I prefer mint gum, but every once in a while, stuff a wad of
what is the flavor of bubblegum?
High fructose corn syrup.
It's just corn syrup. Yeah, I don't like it.
Probably, yeah.
I don't like bubblegum flavor.
So I can't believe you like eggnog.
I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna try to make conjure this next time I drink it because I'm so fascinated by that statement. did we went me, you, me? I don't know.
I believe it's your turn.
What do you get?
I believe it's
my
your turn now, isn't it?
All right. Last week I had told you I watched Far From Home.
Yes.
I watched Far From Home and Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
I want to watch all the Spider-Man before the new one.
The Assorted Spiders Man.
But I keep finding myself going back to the ones that I love.
Mm-hmm. Naturally.
And I was like, I think I'm going to watch The Amazing Spider-Man because I think I've only seen it the one time, and I feel like I should probably rewatch it before.
You only watched it one time?
I think so. I own it too.
See, I've seen that one a lot of times, but the funny thing is, technically, I've never seen the second one.
Oh. I think I've seen the second one maybe only once also. I own that one too. Which means that I've never watched the one that I bought.
I have to imagine that there's probably a good 15% of movies on your wall that you've never watched since you purchased them.
I feel like it's probably... you could probably count them on one or two hands.
Because I feel like we've had this conversation about one or two other movies in the past.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's a movie in there somewhere that I've just never seen. The Doors movie. I have a DVD of the Doors movie that I intended to watch.
I've never seen it.
Never watched it.
Good.
Yeah, that's why I bought it. It was in one of those bins at Best Buy. I believe it was $2. And I never watched it. I will say one thing that bothers me just immensely about The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is it is one of those Blu-rays that has like a non-standard box.
And why
it's
like
that? It's slightly thicker, and it throws off the entire row of movies.
Ah, so you end up with a weird space at the end of the row because you can't fit a whole other.
Very irritating. Oh, I can fit it in. I just can't get movies out of that row. That's the problem.
Okay.
But it is what it is. Deal with it. I feel like I'll have to see that one again, both of them again, because I really don't remember them, and I assume that I'm going to want that refresher before I see the next one. What else are you consuming?
I want to say that I'm going to go see Spider-Man tomorrow, but I'm not. I want to say I desperately want to see it Friday, but I definitely won't be able to. I probably won't be able to Saturday, and I probably won't want to Sunday, and I won't be able to Monday. You see where I'm
This is a real roller coaster.
Exactly. Anyway, so my final consumption note is a podcast.
I just got I just got a screening invite for Spider-Man.
Oh, nice.
I'm not going to it.
That's like a theme. My final note is on a podcast, and it was a podcast that I came across at some point in the last couple of months. It was in part added to the Levitard and Friends podcast network, and up until yesterday, I didn't realize it was technically two podcasts and that I was only getting one of them, but I'd been wondering for some time why it felt like I was only getting half of the jokes. It's because I was only listening to half of the episodes.
Oh my
because
God.
It's on two separate streams for some idiotic reason.
That's enough for me to not even bother.
No, it's good enough that it's worth it. It's not going to be for you because it's about college football sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And so anyone who likes college football or likes to laugh, but mostly who likes college football and to laugh, would enjoy this show. So the main show is called the Shutdown Fullcast, and it's co-hosted by Jason Kirk, Holly Robertson, something like that, Spencer Hall, and Ryan Nanny, and then assorted other people they're friends with. They're all college football writers and or podcasters and such. And the way I was introduced to the show was the Fullcast After Dark, which they would record Saturday night starting at like 10 o'clock at night after the football games were over. Like only the Pac-12 games on the West Coast were on still. They would record from like 10 to 1 in the morning. And it's insane. It's an insane show. It's hilarious. It's the best description of this show I can give is it's Flix and a Six if Flix and a Six was about college football.
Okay.
And that's why I like it so much, I think, because it's the level of tangents and rabbit holes they go down is staggering. And there are entire episodes that are they're all like an hour and a half long, and sometimes there's only like 40 minutes of college football talk in them. And they have a ton of detail sometimes and not so much at other times. And but they know their shit. Like, they can do it in a really knowledgeable way, but they do it always in an entertaining way. And
Cool.
just the way that they riff when it's like 3 to 8 people on the podcast at a time is hilarious. And anyone who comes into their sphere like gets it and is part of it, and it's fun. But I discovered the other day that it's actually the Fullcast After Dark was a spinoff of the Shutdown Fullcast. I was like, oh, I've been really confused by the whole like branding and conversation around all of it, and now I get it because I'm missing the episode they do every Wednesday. I'm only listening to the Saturday night episodes.
Yeah.
So I listened to this,
That's
and it
kinda
was
funny.
so weird listening to last Wednesday's episode last night, or afternoon, whatever, and realizing that what they were referencing on Saturday, I thought it was like a throwback thing, and it was from earlier in the week, and I was like, oh, this is so weird hearing these things out of order. And this week, I think 40 minutes into the episode, they had maybe talked tangentially about college football for a total of like 6 minutes. And what they were consumed with primarily, was my final conversation point on this, was Antioch the Birthday Spider.
I'm sorry?
Antioch the Birthday Spider?
What is this?
It's Antioch the Birthday Spider.
I'm not a spider person.
I
Like
know.
Spider-Man.
If you could do me a favor.
I'm typing it in.
No, you don't have to, because I'm sending you a picture right now on your phone. Can you look at your phone?
Yeah. Sorry, the Google search went through before the message came. Let's see.
Can you see that picture I sent you?
What is this? No. I don't like this.
So this is like a knockoff of Chuck E. Cheese and all of that stuff?
No.
Yes.
Is it really?
Absolutely.
Is there a place that exists where this thing sings to you?
Not anymore, but there was.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Nope.
So anyone,
No.
honestly, even if you don't like college football, find last week's episode of the Shutdown Fullcast and listen to like the first 40 minutes, because in the first 5 minutes or so, they kind of tangentially talk about how the only way that a certain college football coach could ascend to the position he needs to was to beat the shit out of his father, who's a famous college football coach, and the only way he could do so was to lose his virginity. And then they spent about 25 minutes riffing on Antioch the Birthday Spider. And it's joyous, and it will bring a smile to your face and revulsion to your heart. And then if you don't like college football, you can just turn off the rest of the episode, even though it's still strong. You don't need that, but you need to hear about Antioch the Birthday Spider. And if you're too lazy to do that, just spend the 5 minutes reading about the wiki page online. Just search Antioch the Birthday Spider.
Hang on.
There's a Wikipedia
If you
page.
search Antioch the Birthday Spider, the second result is Antioch Showbiz Pizza Wiki.
Yes, that's all from the
But
same
the
thing.
first result is the episode of the podcast you're talking about.
That's absolutely true, because it's a very popular college football podcast. It is branded as the only college football podcast. That is the branding of the show. Welcome to the Shutdown Fullcast, the only college football podcast in the world.
That's great. That's great. One of the video game podcasts I listen to says that too.
So I got so much joy listening to that episode yesterday, and it was hilarious and horrifying.
It's so funny.
And I felt like I was listening to an acid trip, and
I just read the short blurb about it coming down from the ceiling during the birthday song, and I just pass.
Yep.
Don't want any of that in my life.
Well, because last Saturday on the Fullcast After Dark, they're part of it, because most of them went to college in the South and or are from the South. We're talking about the tornado that happened in like the South and Midwest, whatever states. It was Kentucky, Tennessee, Missouri. That hit like 5 states or something like that. I forget. And they were talking about how Kentucky in particular was hit really badly, and they had set up not the Fullcast people, but like the state of Kentucky had set up a bunch of different places that you could donate to help. And they were really strongly advocating, and the only thing they asked in return for them was that like the care of note for all the donations be given in honor of Antioch the Birthday Spider.
Oh my god.
Which turned into a whole riff about, we really hope that enough of you do this that you can help all of these poor people, and that when the governor goes on to talk about it, they can extend their thanks and give the keys to the city to Antioch.
Oh my god, that's so stupid. I love it. That's great. Oh man. That's it. That's all you're consuming. That's the rest.
No, how could I possibly consume more than that?
That's true. So I am continuing to watch Hawkeye.
Okay. Is it
No
continuing to be
longer,
mediocre?
no longer begrudgingly. Yeah, it's still not great. It was three in. Now that I'm 4 episodes in, I feel like it was 3 episodes of establishing a character who doesn't really need much establishing, and another character who's not all that interesting. So they could have skipped to using them.
It's a lot of establishment,
which is where we're at now. Like the actual characters are now like
just in time for it to end next week.
right. Like it's like, oh, actually, there's one today, right? Yeah, I have to watch that one. So I was watching. So this is last week's episode. It was. I was at least entertained by it. I thought they were able to actually give the characters some life and emotion that like I kind of wanted to follow. I felt interested. I feel like they're trying to hint at some sort of big reveal of something that's coming, which I don't want to say it what it is, but it seems pretty obvious in the way that the Captain and the Winter Soldier and Falcon when we're like, that's the bad guy. It was like it seems kind of obvious in that way. They did reintroduce a character from another Marvel property, which is cool. Okay. It was, again, the writing was on the wall. It was very much in your face, and then so in your face, and then like if you don't get it by now, are you watching? And then they take the mask off, like type of thing. It's like, yeah.
I thought it was going to be one of those situations where it was so on the nose and in your face. It's like, okay, so obviously it's a misdirection at this point, but no, wait, it's not.
No, it's not. Yeah, exactly. It's like they've done all but say the person's name. Yet between the lines, they were shouting it at you. But it was.
You hear some production manager guy off screen yelling,
"Yeah,
oh my god, it's whatever his name is."
yeah.
Her name is whatever.
Yeah. So that it was cool though. I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out, especially for the dynamics between the characters that they are focusing on. But I'm trying not to give anything away. It's weird because like part of me wants to just tell you what's going on. The other part of me is like, maybe like I hope that something good happens in the next 3 episodes, like that it's like exciting and worth watching by then. But it's no Loki,
I still have not started. I don't know when I'll be able to start.
That's fine. I will say, you know what? Hey, that's the Christmas thing I'm watching. It's taking place during Christmas. It's a Christmas thing. Absolutely.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. In like in a little more than the Die Hard way, right? Like it's not like there's just Christmas decorations. There's like I promise I'll be home for Christmas scenario too. So anyway, there's also some family stuff going on. It's good. That part of it's good. So it keeps me interested enough that I'm going to continue. I'm not dropping it. Is what I'm saying.
Well, at this point, it would seem foolish to drop it.
That's true. I feel compelled to watch all the MCU things. Well, sure, but even still, like and I know it's sunk cost fallacy, but if you watch 4 of 6 episodes, you might as well watch all 6. True. That's fair. I never. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty sure there's a Netflix season, and I don't think I watched the 2nd season of Jessica Jones. I don't think I watched that. I should probably go back for that. Jessica Jones was good. Yeah, I liked the 1st season. I don't know why. Yeah. I think I was burnt out because I watched like Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Defenders like in quick succession, and I was just like by the end of it. So if you didn't watch the 2nd season of that, there's no way you watched the 2nd season of Iron Fist. Oh, I didn't know there was a 2nd season of Iron Fist. Yeah, and a 2nd season of Luke Cage. What? Oh my god, there's 3 seasons of television that I have? Yes. Should I watch them? What order do I have to watch them in? Season 1 of Daredevil, season 1 of Jessica Jones. Of the ones I have left. I'm trying to go through the whole thing. Oh, okay, all right. Season 1 of Luke Cage, season 1 of Iron Fist, season 2 of Daredevil, Defenders, Punisher. You missed. The Punisher almost exists outside of. Yeah, that's true.
Like, you can honestly watch that whatever, because it had nothing to do with the Defenders arc. It only has to do with the Daredevil arc, really. And so after Defenders, I guess it was Luke Cage 2, Jessica Jones 2, Iron Fist 2. I think it was more or less in release order.
Okay, gotcha. Luke, Jessica, Iron Fist. All right,
I think so.
I will get the appropriate order before I try watching it, but I feel like I might as well. I don't want to.
I mean, it's not like there wasn't entertaining stuff in it, but like Iron Fist, the show just wasn't good.
Yeah,
whatever.
The first,
but there
the
was
first
entertaining
Luke
stuff.
Cage is good.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, Hawkeye. We'll see where it goes. I am also continuing to watch Dexter and very, very much enjoying it.
I'm 2 weeks behind on that one.
Okay. Yeah, it's picking up some steam, and shit's hitting the fan, and I love it.
Nice.
Also, they're just doing a real great job with the Deb character, like being
good.
there.
I was
a
little concerned.
They cut around her. It's really cool.
There's that one scene from whichever episode it was, the third episode, let's say, where he goes to the school with Harrison, and they cut. Not that scene. That scene was good. I mentioned that last week, but
yeah,
just talking about Deb specifically, where they're in with the principal, and they cut from the principal to Deb, and she's wearing the principal's clothes.
Yeah, yep.
And then they cut back. That just is like a stupid little aha moment, like cracked me up a little bit.
I think they did I don't know if they kept the clothes, but they did another thing like that in this episode.
Okay.
Past episode. It's really good. It's exciting. I really want, like, there's so much, like, the basic premise is that Dexter has been in hiding under an alias. Harrison, his son, comes to find him, and the people in the town don't know anything about Dexter as Dexter, and they don't know about his son, and then, like, all that stuff is starting to unfold, and things are coming to light, and backstories are starting to come into play for other people, and it's pretty cool. I'm looking. It's definitely a good season of Dexter.
I'm
excited
well, that's good.
to see
I mean, and it should be. Like, they brought back the guy who originally ran the first 4 seasons when the show was pretty singularly excellent. So
yeah, do you know what the intention is? Like, does this go on past this season?
It was my impression that they just came back for this, but I wouldn't be surprised if they leave us open to possibly do more. So
sure,
I think they've been playing coy. I think we won't hear any more about that until this ends.
Right. Assuming that there's some big thing that'll happen.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anyway, that's Dexter. It's one of those things, like, every Sunday when I'm like, oh yeah, a new episode to watch. It's exciting. Cool, man. Any other things you're consuming, or shall we move on to fun and games?
I'm ready for fun and games.
All right. Did this movie come out before the year 2000?
No.
Okay. Did this movie come out in the aughts?
Yes.
Okay. Is this movie an action adventure or so?
Yes.
Is this movie a comedy?
No.
Does this movie have an ensemble cast?
Yes.
Is this movie sci-fi?
No.
Okay.
Is that 4? Is that 4?
I don't know. Okay. All right. Action adventure 2000.
Sorry.
Ensemble cast.
Yes. Right. Wait. Sorry. You said before 2000, aughts, ensemble cast, and
comedy.
Sci-fi. Wait. You said comedy?
I asked comedy and sci-fi. They were both no's.
So that's at least 5 then. Okay.
Okay. All right. So we have an action.
But you also asked an action adventure. Did you ask 6 questions already? Shit.
I don't know. You want to go recap? Recap again.
That's what I was trying to do. Right.
Let's do it again.
We said before the year 2000.
Yes.
I said no.
Uh-huh.
You said in the aughts. I said yes. Yes, if it was an ensemble.
Yes.
I said yes. That's 3. You asked, was it action adventure?
Uh-huh.
I said yes.
Mm-hmm.
You asked, was it sci-fi? I said no.
Mm-hmm.
You asked, was it a comedy? I said no. So that's 6.
Right. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We're good. All right.
Sorry. I thought I could... silly me, I thought I could read a text real quick while you were asking questions, and I lost track of like 3 questions there. Like I answered them all properly,
I should have just
but
said
lost track.
Does this movie take place in the time frame that it came out?
No.
Okay. Okay. Action adventure ensemble, 2000s, non-contemporary, non-sci-fi. Okay. Is this a war movie?
No.
Okay, great. Getting nothing.
It's where I was sitting last week. It's just like, this is a whole lot of nothings.
Is it action adventure? Is this movie also a drama?
I mean, let me see if it's listed that way on IMDb. I'm going to say yes. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Is it based on something in history?
No. That's 10.
Okay. Does it take place in the... I don't want to burn too many questions on this, but I really don't know what I'm looking at. Does it take place in the past?
No.
Okay, so we got a future ensemble action adventure drama from the 2000s. Not a war movie. Is it an apocalypse movie?
No.
Shit. Huh. That's does it have well-known, like, iconic action stars in it?
Well-known iconic. No.
I don't know, man.
That's only 13. You still have 7 more questions.
No, I don't even know what to ask. Action, adventure, dramas on there. Ensemble cast. In the future. Does it take place on Earth?
No.
Ooh, okay. We got a Space Jam. Not Space Jam.
It's not. Let me just throw this one out here for you. Considering that movie came out in like 1994 or 96. It's not Space Jam. Also,
I find it interesting.
Listen, hang on a second. I've been very clear and accurate in all of my answers. There's something that you said in response to one of my answers that you're making a big assumption on that isn't necessarily true. I don't want to say too much.
If it's not present day and it's not in the past, it's in the future. That's the only one I'm making an assumption on. No?
Yes. Does it have to be?
If it's... I feel like I'm being stupid about something. If it's not...
You're being a little too literal about something.
About what? I feel like if I ask you if it's in the future, you're going to say no, and that's going to be like, well, you're lying to me about something.
I don't want to say any more on the topic. I'm just going to say this. I stand concretely in all the answers I've given you, and that if you think of the confluence of the questions you asked me and how I answered to all of them, you'll understand why I'm trying to guide you away from that.
I may have to take this to Commissioner afterwards. We'll see how this plays out. Okay. It's not sci-fi, but it takes place in space.
You never asked me about space.
I didn't say space. I did say on Earth, and it doesn't take place on Earth.
You asked me if it took place on Earth, and I said no.
Okay. I did ask if it took place at the time that it came out, which is not true. Which could be. It could be.
It did not take place when it came out now.
So, but it could be at a time that has passed, or is current now. Maybe that's.
I promise you, I'm not doing a word game of it was future then, but because 10 to 20 years have passed since then, it's no longer the future, it's the present. I'm not doing that, I promise.
Okay, so hang on. It doesn't take place on Earth. Action, adventure, drama. Not a sci-fi, though.
Well, hang on a second. Can we just stop real quick? Do you understand how I have not in any way, shape, or form been lying or trying to mislead you when you just made the little mini revelation you made there?
I'm not sure yet because I don't see how I don't see how it's not sci-fi yet.
I'm afraid.
Fantasy, maybe? Is that why? Is this
Are
one of
you
those things?
are you asking me? Is it offensive?
I'm not. I'm thinking about it.
Okay. Well, I just want to be clear before I
Sure.
answer in the affirmative or the
Sure.
negative.
It's an ensemble. It's the 2000s. It's not sci-fi. Was this a well-received movie?
Yes.
Okay. Is it in the MCU?
No.
Okay.
That's 15.
It doesn't take place on Earth. So does it take place in space, another realm, in hell, in heaven? In a is it only in the sky? is
Are you asking me if is it only in
no.
the sky? You have to be careful when you frame things in the form of a question like that.
I'm just thinking out loud here. Okay. We don't know. All right. I guess I don't want to ask because I feel like mind games. The mind games. Does this movie take place in space?
No.
Does it take place in another realm?
Yes.
It was well received.
Correct.
It came out in the 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Well received. The first place that my head went is not. Can't be it. What the fuck takes place in another realm? Why? I'm drawing a big blank here. I'm thinking the first thing that came to mind was Mortal Kombat when I said realms. That wasn't well received. Ensemble, action adventure, another realm, well received. Aughts. Is this movie part of a trilogy?
Yes.
How many questions do I have left?
That was 18.
Shit.
So you have one question and one guess.
It's part of a trilogy. Oh man. How am I gonna narrow this down? Is it your favorite entry in the trilogy?
No.
Shit.
It was a good gambit. It's now literally the flip of a coin.
Well, that was 18, right? Or was that 19?
That was 19.
No!
Well, I thought that's why you were having it hung so badly, because if you had three left,
man.
there's a way to narrow it down to
For some
all
reason,
three.
I thought I was asking you 18. Well, that's...
No, you had asked
rough.
18. You were left with one question and one guess to get to parse out three things into one. So it was always going to come down to a 50-50 unless you could find a really clever way to answer the question.
Oh, no.
So do you understand now why I was trying to not give away too much?
And
why I thought you were being a little too literal?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Well, there's a big spider in the third one. Even if I'm wrong, I think that's a good reason to guess that one.
Regrettably, it was not Antioch the Birthday Spider.
Damn. That is... Oh, boy. Okay. Which one should I go with? I really feel like... I feel like it would be great if that was the reason you picked that one. In hopes that that's the reason you picked it, I'm going to go... Is it The Lord of the Rings, Return of the King?
Unfortunately for you, it's the Fellowship of the Ring.
No!
And the reason I chose it is because I saw on, I want to say it was, I forget if it was Time Magazine or one of those major magazines that still kind of exists. It's the 20th anniversary of the Fellowship of the Ring.
Wow.
That came out in 2001.
Wow, that's great. 2001. Damn. Jeesh. Well, you know what? I'm okay with how far I got.
Yes. Well, I mean, you did get there at the end, right? You just didn't quite get the exact right one, and that's fine. But yes, December 23rd, 2001.
Wow.
Looks like when it was released in US and Canada. And yeah.
Did one of those movies come out each year?
Yes, because they shot them all back to back, and they released them in 2001, 2002, 2003.
What a feat.
Absolutely. It's a tremendous feat of
filmmaking.
And that's why I wanted to commemorate that, because we were coming right up on it. I know it's technically next week, but it was my turn to do it this week, not next week. So, yeah, so it couldn't take place in the past, present, or future because it doesn't take place in our universe.
Sure.
And I didn't know how to say that without totally tipping off the fact that it was Lord of the Rings, because it probably would have if I came out and literally said, idiot, it's not in a real thing, you know.
Man, I'm trying to think. All right, knowing at that point that it was one of 3 movies, what could I have asked?
I don't know. I was kind of thinking about that myself when I knew that was the predicament you were in. I don't know if there's a way, like the way you could have done it.
I feel like the only thing I could do is to get myself. Is it 1 or 2? Is it like one of these 2, which is what I did.
So like
I made
it
a coin toss.
Could have got it. It wouldn't have guaranteed that it narrowed it down. Right? Was you could have asked like, was King Theoden in it? Because he's only in the second and third one, and so if the answer was no, you would have 1. But it's not a guarantee it gets you down to 1. But like that's one of like the few ways you could narrow down.
Yeah, but at the point where I knew what I was doing, I only had 1 question to narrow it down to 1 of them.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that wouldn't have guaranteed that it narrowed it down to 1.
Yeah.
I'm saying, but like, there are certain things that overlap between 2 of them, but not all 3, but not many of them, right? Like, there's certain characters that were in. Like, other than that, though, yeah, it's tough to find one defining thing that's only into. Like, I'm sure we could if we spent a long enough time thinking about it, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head other than certain like characters or actors or whatever that were in it.
Good pick, 20th. Man, are they going to release another version of that?
I really hope not.
Extended cut.
Well, they did the earlier this year. They did the 4K like re-release,
right.
And that makes sense, I guess.
Did I buy that?
I don't know.
I feel like I bought it.
I know he talked about it when it came out, but I don't remember if you committed to buying it.
Please hold. Just taking a quick scan. I want to say, interesting. I definitely. Oh, I did buy it. Cool. It's on the collections row, not in the
that makes sense.
Alphabetizing portion of our setup here. Al, I believe that it's time for our flick of the week. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Released in 2021, rated PG-13, with a 2-hour and 12-minute runtime. Your IMDb synopsis. Shang-Chi, the master of weaponry-based kung fu, is forced to confront his past after being drawn into the Ten Rings organization. Ooh, it sounds so diabolical. I just realized that I had started a text, and it's still recording everything I say. So that's gonna have to stop that real quick. Al, why don't you give me... Somebody was about to be very confused when that sent off. Why don't you give me your hot take?
Before I do that, though, when did we establish that he was the master of weapons-based kung fu?
Okay, I'm glad you asked. I was going to circle back to that afterwards, but yeah, I have no idea. I also,
now that you mention it, he was pretty good with a lot of weapons and without weapons, but
I feel like his sister was better with the weapons, though. I feel like he was more like bare hands. Or is he more like everything around him's a weapon?
He is the weapon?
He is the weapon. So weapons-based, for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, back to... I'm sorry to derail like that, but I was hearing that because I didn't read it. I just heard you saying it, and I was like,
Who writes the IMDb synopsis? Is this like a Wikipedia type situation?
Well, they make fun of that all the time on Cinephobe, where not even so much the synopsises, though those sometimes too, but the categories sometimes are like wildly off, and they wonky. Like Amin and Maze like make fun of Zach, and he's like, "It's not mine. I'm just reading it off of IMDb." But
what are the ones for this movie? Let me double check real quick what they have listed as. It is a action adventure fantasy. I think that's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's exactly.
By the way, to your point about whether or not the Fellowship, your action adventure in the US for drama, and I was like, I mean, I would say so, but I don't know if they're looking for like prestige drama, like
I guess
Thread, but it was on there, so I'm okay with it because it's certainly closer to drama than a comedy or any other sort of thing.
Sure,
it's not like a dumb action movie that's just in action. Anyway, my tweet length review. A fun ride that mercifully gives us a new take on the superhero origin story, even if it succumbs to the expected CGI conflagration and weak villain of MCU wrote. 6.5 out of 10 rings.
Ah. Somehow I missed that opportunity. Now I'm kind of embarrassed to say mine. A wonderfully choreographed return to the origin story. 7 out of 10 mandarins.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I had said this a few months back at this point, when we were talking about looking forward to this movie, that I could do an origin again. I think I'm ready for one, and I was happy that it was, they did it. I think they did the origin story well. I thought the pacing of it was pretty good, and it wasn't. While the origin story mechanics of like explaining it weren't like exactly the same as like some of the other ones, to your point, in your review, the villain's weak. Villain's very weak. It was just a shame. But I guess like it's funny, like he doesn't have a lot of the father. He doesn't have a lot of, I guess, screen time. He's there in the beginning, maybe too much, and then not at all. And then again, and it's like trying to chew up some scenery, but he's just not. He's not that compelling. It's like this character that's been around for hundreds of years, and I feel like he wouldn't be a stranger to mind games, which is the thing that's like driving him.
Yeah, but what if magic?
But what? What if magic? Indeed, I am curious. What about magic? I am curious though. Like, is this a new pillar in the MCU?
What do you mean?
Like this fantasy, like dragons realm thing?
I don't know. Obviously, it's been around for a long time in the MCU. Well, not the MCU, in the comics background, right? Because
sure,
you have a character like Doctor Strange, who has dabbled pretty heavily into the East Asian influences. I mean, wasn't his like main nemesis like Fu Manchu?
I don't know. I don't really know much about.
I want to say that was the case, and he's one of like the OG Avengers. Doctor Strange is way more important to the comics iterations of the Avengers than he has been on screen.
Sure.
So far, and then you have an Iron Fist, and you have a Shang-Chi, and
now Iron Fist and Shang-Chi, do you know? I can't really remember. I remember he like was going up into the mountains, and there was a pathway that was only open at certain points. Is this the same place?
While the backstory seemed very similar, it wasn't, at least by name, unless they was one of those things where, because sometimes they rename them different iterations and stuff like that.
Sure.
Because in Iron Fist it was Kunlun, and here it was Ta Lo or whatever it was, right?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. So okay, but like that's the thing. Like, remember we had like the more grounded, like there was like the Iron Man, Captain America, the Hulk here on Earth type things. There was the space Guardians of the Galaxies out there. Captain Marvel goes in and out. I feel like we had the more mystical with Doctor Strange, but I feel like this is not that. I feel like it's something else.
It's kind of in between. I mean, I guess it would go more in the Thor category.
Yeah, I guess so. Like another. It seems like because it's like a portal to another realm type of situation, right?
Yeah.
So it's just not. Yeah. Okay. I could see that. I guess maybe it fits better in that space. I could also see that Chicken Pig definitely had like Ragnarok vibes as far as like character.
I mean, how dissimilar was the? Oh, so how dissimilar was he really from Meek?
Yeah. But okay, all right. I could see that. I enjoyed my time watching it. I was engaged the whole way through.
Yeah, no, I liked the movie. I just didn't totally love the movie.
Yeah.
Like, it was fine. I just felt like there was kind of a hard cap on how good it could be for my own enjoyment. What I will say is, as far as the origin thing, Well, they decided to kick it off with a big prologue, which is fine, especially when you have to establish a lot of lore, and when you talk about these types of stories, especially its heritage in like Eastern Asian tradition, you're going to get that sort of like parable introduction to the story and all that. And that was kind of cool, and they showed some cool ways to get involved with all that. And but from there, it doesn't really feel like an origin story because he is an established character and we're just being revealed to how he's established, right? Mm-hmm. Because at the beginning it looks like, oh god, we're going to do the thing where he finds out he's going to acquire powers, and it's like, oh no, he is a fully formed martial arts master, and now we find
that
out
was
why.
That was the nice coat of fresh paint on the origin story.
Yes.
Like the breakout fight on the bus, best scene in the movie for me.
Yes.
And just the way that it unfolds, the shock on the best friend character who's been with him for so long and had no idea. Like I think that the way that whole thing played out is so cool. And then the idea that like they've been friends for this long and he's been able to hide it, and like me thinking, how like is he like training low key, or is he just he was so wrapped into it when he was younger that like it's like riding a bike for him? Like is he still, you know what I mean?
Well, I know we talked about Thor, but I don't think Loki had anything to do with it.
I hate you. I do. What they did on that bus with the close quarters, like hand-to-hand combat, it was so fast-paced. The choreography was bonkers, and it really like
yes.
I was so into it. Definitely had those like the stunts, like the movements through the bars and like holding on to like the different rails within the bus felt very much like some of the practical stunts that Jackie Chan would do.
Yeah, I was picturing Rush Hour, specifically Rush Hour 2 in some of the scenes in the casino.
Yeah, like when he like slips through the
gate pavement. And all that. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that was wild. And then like on top of that, it's like just when you have enough time to get acquainted with what they're doing, they would like reconstruct the level, for lack of a better word. Like if it was a video game, right? It's like, okay, now we're gonna like cut it in half, and now we're gonna break the window. Now you're outside.
We've seen plenty of tremendously like choreographed fight scenes like that, but to see it with the constantly shifting, like all the different camera angles they chose, inside the bus, outside the bus, down, like stream from the bus, up close.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, the kind of like the video game style, hey, half of the level just got chopped off, and now we have a shorter. It was like part Rush Hour 2, part Speed, part
Cans.
The Rock. I was gonna say The Rock, not Cans. Because they have like the bus hurtling through, and fucking things up like in Speed. You have the San Francisco aspect of the terrain like in The Rock, and then obviously it was a really cool frenetic way to do all that, and yet they still took snippets of time here and there to slow it down for a second to either deliver a quip, to deliver the slightest bit of dialogue, to reset and reframe what's happening. I really, really enjoyed that sequence, and I thought that it was shot in such a cool way.
Mm-hmm. So good. It's just absolutely like so much fun. Like when that was over, I just had like this big dumb grin on my face. I was like, "What's next?" They don't quite reach the same heights for the rest of the movie, but they get pretty close to it with the scaffold fight. I thought that was pretty amazing as well.
Which again, Rush Hour 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh my god, they're doing that Rush Hour 2 thing."
Yeah, but like today, right, where they can like the combination of movement and CG and like all the rigs that they have to make it look real, like super realistic, versus actually fighting on an actual scaffold.
Yeah, and that allowed them to do it in some newer and cool. And when you have a person who, while not quite super powered in that moment, like pretty damn close, like heightened above and beyond what a normal human being would be.
Oh, it's so cool. I always love the mechanics of like the platforming in a fight like that, right? We're like, okay, what is the next cool trick they're going to do with the environment? Like stomp on the ground just a little too hard so something snaps up and hits somebody in the face, or like push somebody through something so it knocks somebody off that's like way far down the line, or like disassembles the entire thing that they're standing on. I always love those.
I would say to me it was the like Spider-Man or like Jedi Fallen Order type of like video game traversal stuff of like not just you jumping and platforming, but you're spinning and looping and flipping from like bar to bar and all that stuff. It's like watching your own mini like Olympic gymnast routine.
Yeah.
in a Marvel movie.
What's cool about it too is I feel like they by setting up the spaces so dramatically different, the fighting styles each felt unique for those scenes. Like I feel like early on we got the sequence with the mother and father doing their fight dance, and it's like very kung fu movie, very floaty because it's like all open. There's not a lot of environment for them to play with, but they work with the space, and it looks really cool. It's just like this really awesome dance in a painting. Like it's so cool to watch, and then like to go from that to just the high speed, very close hand to hand combat within the bus to then that mixture of like that there was like that fight was very linear like inside that space, and then like adding the verticality and with the with the scaffold fight, and so not only like adding that verticality, but it's also like starting to open up a bit more, giving them more room to play and more environment to play off of. It's like they're still doing some of that like floaty. That was like a mixture. It was very fast paced, but the movement was like floaty around it because they were able to swing on the bars and stuff like that, even though they didn't necessarily have those skills that like his mother has, where she can conjure like what I assume is some form of conjuring the elements to work with her within the fight. That's what it seemed like to me.
It was cool that scene in the prologue when the two of them were fighting was kind of like half like old school kung fu movie and half like Star Wars prequels, right? Where it's taking the powers and redirecting them and transmitting them back to them and all that sort of stuff. I'm picturing like kind of like, you know, lightning bolts getting flung at Yoda and Yoda catching them and sending them back and all that sort of stuff. I agree about the thing. It's funny. Some of the sequences like in that on the scaffold fight type of thing, it almost feels like a dance at times, like that it's for the dancing's sake, not for the purpose of like actual combat. And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, no, it's very entertaining for sure. I'm kind of one of the things I was not I couldn't really understand what they were trying to do was the relationship between our lead and his best friend.
And it's will like, they, won't they? But they never do.
It's like will they, won't they? But based on what they've established, like they definitely won't. And if they do, it's gonna feel forced.
And they keep going back to it still.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
like I think you can do that. I think you can do it at the beginning, and then you just kind of got to leave it alone.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of softly come sneaking back into doing that, maybe.
Yeah, like they'll like a character will say like something about like your girlfriend or something like later on. And it's like no. It's like
well, and like the way it all ends with the two of them kind of like leaning on each other in the end.
Yeah,
and it feels like slightly more than friendship at that point, but doesn't still actually feel like they're intimate.
It's like maybe, but why? Like it. Not every. I don't think that that they necessarily need a romance story. Like I think these characters just being best friends of the opposite sex is fine. Like, can we just let that be the thing?
Well, I just rather than the will they, won't they, and then we're kind of distracted for a while, and then maybe we're going to bring it back. Like, either do the will they, won't they, leading to them getting together eventually, or do that joke once in the beginning and then just leave it alone completely.
Right. Yeah, because it feels like they got the direction that they won't, but the writers kept adding a little bit here and there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I don't believe that they'll ever get together because they just seem like best friends, except for the weird bit of writing that keeps getting dropped in here and there. I don't know. It was I found that to be a little bit jarring and strange.
It was a little clunky.
Yeah.
That being said, their actual chemistry on screen was very entertaining. The way they played off.
It was.
Rift.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of fun.
I appreciated that it kind of all started with them doing the Key and Peele valet.
Yep.
Thing. It felt like I get like that's what like valets in like San Francisco or whatever were, but like it specifically evoked that skit to me for whatever
Absolutely.
reason. It's probably because of the whole thing with them jumping in the car together and the banter in there, but
there was something about them like this is what we do, and we're okay with that. And I just liked that like they are thrust upon by this ridiculous event that they are going to now change their lives. Yeah. But if it didn't happen, valets they were like cool with it. They were just like, we're just going to do this. It's great. We love it. We do this. We go to karaoke. We go home. rinse, repeat.
No, the karaoke thing. The karaoke thing was so ridiculous. And
It was.
I love that they found a way to work in the post-credit with Wong doing
Absolutely. Yeah. It's very silly. He's that guy is funny. Like,
Yes.
I don't know what it is about, like, especially like the way his lines are written and like his delivery, where he doesn't change his face at all, regardless of if he's being funny or serious, is just so much fun to watch. And like, it's not like a he can't thing. It's a choice to deliver the lines that way, and I think it's really great.
Well, I think part of what it is because he's not. Oh, he's actually English. I didn't realize that. I just looked it up because I was going to say it's really hard to be funny in your second language. So I was wondering if it was one of those things because he does like a convincing enough like accent that you could see him not being from America. But I would have never guessed English. I assumed that he was like Chinese or Taiwanese, and like typically it's really hard to do comedy in your second language. But I guess
Sure.
It's not a second language. It sounds like he's known English his whole life. But either way. To master the levels of I'm going to appear foreign, but also and give like those cadences and those sometimes miscommunications of that sort of cultural and language barrier, and give you the deadpan delivery like that feels like there's like it's a layered performance that like
Absolutely.
probably is not called for, but yet somehow is absolutely necessary.
Right? Yeah. Because like that character would be so throwaway if it weren't for his great performance. I feel like.
Yeah.
No, that's
He does.
cool.
He cracks me up in this role of Wong. It's just that deadpan one-liners.
Just the idea. I know it's like we're jumping all over, but like at the end, like just the idea of like opening the portal into the middle of the bar and being like, "Come on!" I don't like this. Like the fact that I'm opening a portal like is not strange to me. I don't care if it's strange to you. Just we have things to talk about. I just love that. It's like he's not suffering fools. He's just like, let's go. We got to talk about these rings real quick. The rings are interesting. I feel like we didn't get enough about them.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like we're going to get more about them. Probably too much about them going forward.
Maybe
considering the way like the post credit like broke down, or I guess like the epilogue whatever broke down with them like. I guess they're hinting at it's probably going to be a Kang thing, right?
I have no.
It seemed like that was the way they were doing it. Like
Yeah, maybe
it's going to lead to all points are going to lead to King. Probably a little too forced. Like I think that they did a little bit more organically and naturally with the Infinity Stone stuff. If everything in all ways, shapes, and forms point to King, there's no mystery there. There needs to be a little bit of mystery.
Yeah. That'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I just, and then the history of the rings, though, and like their origin is like that seemed like it was going to be fascinating. They were going to like give us hints throughout so that you could start drawing some speculation, but like they really didn't. They touch on it like once, found it in a hole, and then it's like these are really old. That's about it.
Also powerful, but it's like, can we get a little bit more of an idea of how they work, why they work?
I wanted a little bit more about how they work until he used them as little platforms to run and jump off of, and I was like, do whatever you want with these. These are so cool.
Well, I don't need like very specific, hey, you can do this, you can't do this.
Yeah.
But just a little bit of a framework for like, hey, this is like the way they draw power from whatever, or this is, it's even something as stupid as a throwaway line of, the usages of the rings only limited by your own creativity. It's like, okay, you know what? Fair enough. Like,
sure.
It's tied to your psyche, and if you think, hey, I need to run somewhere, it creates platforms. If you think,
green
hey, I need to lasso something, it becomes a lasso. Like,
Yeah. It was interesting. The one thing that like it caught me off guard after the fact was like, it's really cool what they're doing with these, right? I loved the platform bit. I loved there was that one scene where he throws one of the rings up and then has it like freeze in midair and then uses it to grab and swing onto something else. And I was like, that was pretty awesome too. And then like after all was said and done and I came down from the high of this ridiculous scene, I was like, but he knew how to use them too quick. I was like, this seems like a second movie thing after he's gone through like his own personal training montage with them, which could be like really funny, where he's just like breaking everything around him because they're so strong and powerful.
Yeah, he goes to throw him at a target, it bounces back and it hits him. You know, all
exactly
those slapstick comedy things.
But it's pretty cool. What are the rules? I don't really care. I just want to see them do more cool things with it. That whole like in the beginning when the dad is, I don't know, bajillion years ago, and he's on his horse and he's making a dome around him. I was like, this is pretty cool too. But I also like wanted just the idea of like how like what is the controlling factor is what I like would like to know. Like what is it that he has to do specifically to work with them? Like is it like you were saying, like is it his mind? Like is it like throwing them and like, or are they aware? Did they have some sort of like life to them, which I feel like is possible.
Yeah, like does it have its own consciousness, and it's, you know, kind of like the One Ring style, where it's like it selects you as much as you select it, and you know when it's time to move on, the thing betrays you, type of deal, which isn't exactly what happened, but obviously he ends up giving up. He rescinds his usage of the rings so that his son can have them in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world. Like none of this is too big, but I found myself more curious about it. It's like, well, if you're gonna put it in the title and you're gonna make everything, all the fighting going on about it, like, can we get a little bit more about them other than just they're really cool, which they are, but like, because it was also kind of felt like when you have the 10 rings, you're invincible, and then like he got his soul yanked out of his asshole, and like it didn't matter anymore that he had the rings. It's like, okay, so they don't make you invincible, and it sounds like your skill with the ring is really important, and also like if you didn't know, there was a sniper who's down the road and he like took a pot shot at you, you're not gonna be able to do anything with him. Like, does it actually? How did it like expand his life? Because he lived for thousands of years,
right?
Like, is it just because he had the rings and because they're magic, and does he have to wear them at all times now, or is it just?
Well, yeah, I definitely was wondering that too, right? Because he takes them off for a period of time. Like, so did he age another few years and then put them back on and then stopped again? Yeah,
like, or is it just because he had like ownership of them and they were kind of always within arm's reach? But
you see, this is what they did though. They did a good job, because you start asking these questions and then they do something really cool, like we use them to jump really high, and you just forget everything.
So, yeah, there's definitely some like there's definitely some Shocker vibes, like from Spider-Man like video games, where he like just blasts off from the ground with them, because sometimes he just wears them as like bangles or whatever.
Right. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know what the rules are, and occasionally I want to, and then like I said, they do something. They catch me by surprise. I feel like they kept trying to do this thing with like Shang-Chi, you are both good and bad, and you have to embrace it both. I'm like, I don't.
No, you have to embrace one or the other, because you can't be both at the same time.
I was gonna say, I was like, I don't. I also don't. I don't really buy that you're bad.
Like, yeah, good people do bad things and bad people do good things, but like more or less, like on balance, you tend to be a good or bad person, more or less.
But they were like making it out like he has no choice. He is partly bad. It's like, but
why? Because he was trained to be an assassin and then wasn't?
Right. Exactly. Well, I'm glad you phrased it that way, because that's exactly what I'm getting at. It's like, no. It's like, but do you know who you are? Yeah.
Listen, I can understand like holding on to the psychic and emotional baggage of.
Absolutely.
Oh wow, I could have been a terrible person because I was trained and brainwashed to be a terrible person. I just ultimately somehow broke free to not be that, but still, what could have been? You know, I could have kept going down that path.
But like I guess the bad part of it, he did kill the person he was supposed to go kill, right? Wasn't that when it come down to that? He did it. He killed the person, but didn't go home afterwards.
Was that what happened? I kind of forgot about that.
I think so. I think he tells his trusty sidekick. What was her name?
Was it not Katie?
Was it Katie? Tells Katie that he did kill somebody. I'm like, that was like a big moment. I think they were like sitting in the other realm, like by the water, and he's kind of coming to terms with everything.
This feels important, and I should remember it, but I don't.
But that was about it, though. There wasn't really. We don't know who it was. I don't think they ever said that. But like, I
thought my recollection of it was, and obviously it seems like my recollection was wrong, but I thought it was like he was sent out to do it and then chose not to.
That is how it's set up. And the reveal is when he's talking to his friend that he tells her that, like, I didn't not go home because I didn't do it. Like, I did it and then realized I couldn't go home or like go back to that life or something like that, or like continue on this way. At least that's how I remember it. I don't know. Maybe that was a dream.
No, you might be right. It's weird that I'm drawing a blank on this thing specifically because it's kind of important.
The reintroduction of Trevor.
Most unexpected.
Very unexpected, but also, like, my goodness, was that a treat? It was such a ridiculous character, and half the time he's speaking so fast that you're like, wait, what did he just say? And it's usually something very silly. His relationship with Chicken Pig, amazing. My favorite bit about that
thing doesn't have a face. He's very sensitive about that.
My favorite bit about that was like when Sean and Katie are like, they acknowledge that the chicken pig is in the room, and Trevor's like, "Oh, you can see him too," because he kind of knows he's nuts and out there, but he's also he's just living in his own little world, and then gets involved. Very funny.
Yeah, weirdly, deeply involved. And also, there's a certain point where I forget about him entirely, and then they show him up on the battlefield playing dead.
Yeah.
In the middle of
just a moment of levity for the viewer. I love that.
What are you doing? I'm playing dead. You should too. Get down here.
and it does it.
Yes.
They're just so good. What a funky design. All the creatures from that land.
What was the creature? What was the chicken pig's name? Didn't it have a name? It had to have had a name. What was the name?
I don't know. Let's see if we can find out. What was Chicken Pig's name? Morris.
Yes, Morris.
Real name Morris, alias Chicken Pig.
Also, from like the whole like raising of them, just like calling out a random thing, because we were talking about the whole like killing people, not killing people, the situation with the fight on the scaffolding. What was the deal with the dude in the mask? Like, he just kept like being there. He just kept existing.
I don't know. I feel like that was probably something for fans, maybe.
Okay, because I kept feeling like they were gonna like pay that off in a way that mattered in any way, shape, or form. Even
no, I think it was more so that like that was the guy that brutally trained Sean when he was a kid.
Sure, I thought it was gonna matter.
Yeah, so did I. I mean, it was the costume and the movement was kind of terrifying. So it was a cool presence to have to deal with. But I agree. It's like there was, and then the character's gone, and you're like, all right. And it only got killed by one of the demon pterodactyls. It wasn't even the big guy.
Yeah,
right.
I did kind of like the fighting factions, and we're not going to be able to come to terms, and then the world seems to be ending, and they watch someone's soul get absolutely yanked out of them. It's like, okay, we should probably be friends now. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, I said that, I'm an asshole, but now you get to say it, and it's all okay.
We have no time to debate this.
I feel like they were able to steal souls way too quickly and easily.
Yeah.
I feel like there should have been some sort of battle for a soul. I feel like it just like hoovering it up on like a drive-by shouldn't have been.
That's true. That was too quick.
Like, hey, I brutalized you, I defeated you, you're powerless in front of me, I'm stealing your soul. Not just.
It took a long time to pull the soul out of the dragon.
Well, sure, which it should, because that obviously is a big, impressive creature and soul.
Yeah.
That being said, I don't really love that the weird Lovecraftian horror was able to just like choke out the dragon and start yanking its soul out.
Yeah, that was weird. Also, was the dragon? I also like that they just started calling it our dragon.
Well, he was our dragon.
Our steak.
Yeah, exactly.
Was it just living under the sea?
Seems to be, yeah.
That's where he hangs out.
Sea dragon.
That's cool. There's like this whole. I mean, there's people love dragons. Like, there's all sorts of like dragon stuff that I don't know about, like different types of dragons and things like that. I find it fascinating.
Did they ever give a name for that terrible entity?
I feel like they dragon. Did.
Because I just kept calling it. I was watching it with my sister. I kept calling it the Lovecraftian horror the whole time. So.
Evil dragon. What was the evil dragon? Face to face with the dragon. The Great Protector. That's the good one. Fang Foom? Fin Fang. What? Some assumed it would be a version of the comic book villain Fin Fang Foom. I don't know. Who's the dragon? I'm gonna see if I can find an answer to this. God, Ben Kingsley. I just saw a picture of Ben Kingsley doing his bit. It's very funny. He talks about a little bit about himself, like as the Mandalorian in Iron Man 3, but I didn't follow what it was that he was saying. Like,
sorry, did you call him Mandalorian?
Nope, I did call him Mandalorian about being called the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. But like, was he saying that he was meant to portray a person so that they could, which is what that was like the whole bit, right? He was portraying this terrorist, but then the person that he was portraying was actually Sean's dad, who has at some point gone by the Mandarin.
Yes. And he took offense to that characterization of him.
And then took him because of that, but but everybody found him so funny when he did his performances that they kept him around. Dance monkey dance.
He became the court jester who sings for us up.
It's so ridiculous. I love it though. He is like, I mean, like Ben Kingsley is like leaning into that role like so much, like giving it way more than it deserves. I feel like.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely,
like 140%.
Well, I appreciate that because how many times in those sorts of roles historically in movies do you get someone who just totally fucking mails it in? So yeah. I appreciate. Hey, listen, show up to set for 3 days and just give it an 11.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know enough about. I'm still trying to find out the name of this dragon thing.
So it sounds like I was right though. They never said its name in the movie.
I don't think so. What's the deal with Shang-Chi's evil dragon? This looks like an article.
Wasn't it just literally called like the Dark One or the Evil One or something like that?
The Dweller in the Darkness?
Something like that.
The monster is known as the Dweller in the Darkness.
Okay.
The residents know the nefarious dragon-like monster as the Dweller in the Darkness. The creature has been trapped behind a powerful barrier. Pterodactyl-like minions represent the evil so fierce that they're impervious to most weapons. Okay, so that's the lore. They're just so evil that weapons don't hurt them.
Ah, of course.
The Dweller in the Darkness has a different backstory and name in the comics. This is from a website called Bustle.
Okay.
It seems that I'm going to do a little reading for you. It seems like the Dweller in the Darkness is inspired by the comics Fin Fang Foom, which per Marvel means he whose limbs shatter mountains and whose back scrapes the sun. That's those 3 sounds together mean that whole thing.
I guess
that's fascinating. That's amazing.
What was that from? Was it something about Mary? The Matt Dillon, where he was coming, he who loved many animal, and who in return animals love him.
that might have been. Fin Fang Foom is an alien who arrived in ancient China with others from the planet Kakaranathara. Jesus.
So.
Sometimes called Maklu 4. Unlike the rest of his cohort, who shapeshifted into human forms, Fin Fang Foom was placed in a hidden tomb for protection. Interesting.
Fin Fang Foom was placed in a tomb?
No. I said it and didn't realize it. I feel like somebody's joshing me right now. The creatures of Kakarantha. Okay, they're connected to the Ten Ring. There's a whole thing here that'll play out at some point, I assume. But anyway, that's cool. How does one... back to the rings and their rules. How does one become the owner of the rings?
I mean, it would have been, I guess, kind of cool to. So he just found them. They just hit like a meteor, and then he found them.
Just put them on, and then
like, how does one take them from someone else? Because
exactly, and then Shang-Chi like swirled them, made them go nuclear, and then was like, mine. That's how that happened. I think
you just have to put them on.
Fine. You just have to. Oh, that's it. That's all there is to it. That's amazing. Boy, I liked the introduction of the sister in current day when he goes to this finds her fighting ring, ends up getting himself put into the fighting ring, and I'm like, when they're like, oh, you got to fight the main fighter, I'm like, this is obviously going to be his sister. When he gets up to this cage match, that was kind of funny. The whole sticking the landing on keeping the plucky comic relief around that bet against him, I think is really that his best friend bet against him in the fight, and then has this pile of cash afterwards, and just the fact that he acknowledges it and before they go on with the rest of the scene, really, that gave me a good chuckle.
Which is funny too, considering how impressed she seemed after watching him fight on the bus, that she would immediately then bet against him.
Yeah. What was the deal? What was the giant monster that Wong was fighting?
Oh, that was Abomination.
Was it though? Like, I feel like he had more, like, I don't know, 100% more gills than he had last time.
Well, I mean, it's been, what is it? Well, it's been over 10 years, right? So they obviously updated the character model a little bit.
I guess, but like that just looked, to me, it looked like a giant muscular fish versus the Abomination from the original appearance. So what's that character's deal? They keep it in a cell and put him out to fight?
I mean, it was all CGI. They didn't even need to bring Tim Roth back to do it.
Yeah.
Right? It was just there. And
it seemed like an odd choice.
It's an Easter egg, you know?
Just a tease. It was an Easter egg, but it wasn't the character model that it originally was. So this is why I had to ask.
It was gray.
It was gray. Seriously, though, they had like fins and weird ear flap things going on.
I kind of appreciated that him and Wong secretly were friends, and like they like dapped it up at the end.
Yeah.
After the fight.
That's good. What else we got here? I had a lot of fun with this. And then on top of that, like, so getting to that I want to say underground, but it was very high up in the building. That fighting ring, and then finding out that, like, I didn't send you the letter, and it's like, oh boy, it's about to go down, and then here comes creepy assassin man and all his cronies. The blade arm was not the best effect.
No, it was not.
It's funny. It's similar to some of your comments last week about Dune and the the future dream sequence. Like, the blade was too smooth. That's the telltale sign of an unfinished VFX, is it's smooth.
I'm having a hard time here debating and criticizing certain CGIs after watching that pitch meeting you sent me earlier today about Attack of the Clones.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, it was a good one.
He looks at her with pervy eyes, one too many times.
And then he kills the men and the women and the children too. I imagine he covers that up. No, he goes and tells her immediately about all of it. And so he goes, yeah, no, it's only a few scenes later that she's falling deeply, madly in love with her. That's exactly how women talk. I know, I've never heard him talk. I was just hoping that would work. And so then later they get married. Oh, wow. So the whole killing of women and children thing, not only was that not a turnoff, but it seems like it's kind of like totally her thing. Yeah, no, whatever.
Oh, man. The comment on the, she's going to wear like a skin tight outfit, and then a giant cat's gonna come and slice it off. Thank you, giant cat.
Ooh, a giant cat. Yeah, she's gonna wear a skin tight shirt, and then she's gonna slash up. Ooh, what's gonna happen then? It's gonna become a skin tight crop top. Oh, thanks, giant cat.
Skin tight crop top. Oh man, what a joke. That was great. I saw there was another one for episode 3 that I'll definitely have to watch. I love those pitch meetings. They crack me up.
Oh yeah,
very entertaining. Back to Shang-Chi though. I don't really actually. You know what? Now that I'm looking at my notes here, I don't really have much else. I am curious. Like, I would love to have one of those MCU, like be rich and have no work, and then have one of those MCU trainers just take care of me for, like, I don't know, 6 months.
How do you feel about steroids?
No. I don't have to look like, I don't, like, it doesn't have to, like, look like that. I just want to go through the whole training experience.
The thing is, I probably could look like that. I just like food too much.
I love food.
I can't just live with, I'm going to eat chicken and broccoli for 14 meals a day for the next 12 years of my life. Like, I'm going to eat food.
14 meals a day. That's a lot of meals.
Well, if you're going to train like that, you have to eat like 14 servings of chicken a day.
That's true. So. Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to do that either. I love food.
Me too.
I say that a few times a day.
Well, listen.
Usually while I'm consuming it. Take a bite of something. I love food.
I think it plenty. I try not to say it verbally multiple times a day, but it does come out on a fair amount of days.
Yeah. Food. Anyway, this was a good one. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to see where it goes in the future, how they build on the character, what they do with him next. This came out before Eternals, yes?
Yes, this was September. Eternals was November.
Okay, so I'm kind of curious. The ancientness of like what's going on with the Eternals. I wonder if there'll be something about some hint about like the origin of those rings since they're so old. From that film.
Yeah, I mean, even if they don't know about it, they should probably know soon, or like they should be like aware of it. You're right. Like,
yeah. What are these? So if I can't remember, so right now, all right. So Shang-Chi, Eternals, then Spider-Man is next. What is this all leading to? Do we know? Is there a slated title or like working title for what the next ensemble movie is?
I don't think they have announced that yet, other than maybe like somewhere they said, "Oh, next Avengers" or whatever. But like, my guess would be that maybe before that, it's going to kind of culminate with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll see. I'm curious what the plans are, but I'm glad we got some Marvel movies coming our way. Glad this one was a good one, especially coming off of Black Widow, which I wasn't too hot on.
Yeah, I was a little disconcerted. I was kind of wondering, hoping that maybe Eternals would be on Disney Plus soon, but it sounds like it's going to be a few more weeks, like a month maybe.
Yeah, and it's not. Is it still in theaters or not anymore?
I'm sure you could probably find it somewhere, but I don't know if it's in wide release anymore.
Yeah,
so it came out the first week of November, so it's been 6 weeks.
I'll have to watch that one when it gets to the Plus. Then Spider-Man, I am making my way to the theater for though. I'm very excited for it.
Oh, me too. I just got to find out exactly when.
Yeah. Al, do you have anything else on Shang-Chi?
I don't think so.
Well then, that is all for this week's episode. I'm going to say something, and I it came in my head and left like almost instantaneously. It was in my head, and then it was out there on the line. And I don't remember what it was. So that's it. That's all for this week's episode of Flix in the Six. We hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you have a movie for us to review or nuggets for us to discuss, you can send those requests to flixinthe6@thespintune.com or tweet us at thespintune. Tune in next week for more movie and beer goodness. Until then, I'm Anthony Costanzo.
I'm Al Bielsi.
Thanks for coming out.